Welcome back, sir. We're here with a brand new patch, and well, let me tell you, John, this patch is disgusting. We've got a lot to talk about how bad this patch is, how imbalanced some certain heroes are. But I'm gonna ask you before all that, John, how the hell are you feeling?
I'm doing great, Mike. Had 2 days off. We're back here for the final stretch of the BTS Pro Series Season 4. Chugged down some Monster with my Merienda, our sponsors, of course. Have all pumped up for games. Now, I have to say, the patch came in. I believe the most recent matches, I think yesterday's matches, didn't actually feature not much of a deviation, if my short glimpses were right, unless the API is not sending out who bought shards. But and as far as I know, we didn't see shards come out just yet in a
No.
big way, and it hasn't really shifted too far yet. So it looks like teams right now in ongoing tournaments are opting to play safe. We've seen this happen before. At the same time, I think the patch, it's big, but it's so big that it needs a little bit more adjustments. Like the shards, which I think every hero does have, and it's a mixed bag in some. I think you can think of it as like a level 20-minute talent, right? Like you're almost always gonna have 1,400 gold from pause 5 up if you just save, if you just keep banking it until that point. All the supports would have a harder time, but it's something that you can choose to level up or choose to bypass. I think that so in for some heroes it can bounce them back in, but we haven't quite seen the full ramifications of that kind of change. Overall, though, the map is the same. We haven't seen camp movements. We haven't seen new objectives added. We haven't seen too strong of economy shift beyond the stacking changes. So overall, whatever worked in the past patch still sort of works here as well.
That it does, John. Of course, we've got to give quick apologies. I forgot to apologize for this. We were having delays due to coordinator issues. As you may imagine, after a new patch drops, there's going to be 1,000 coordinator issues going on, so we had to wait those out. Apart from that, John, this new hero, it makes me sick. And the people that have played it against me also make me sick. It's not remotely balanced. It got nerfed quickly. It's still not remotely balanced. If you're playing this Hoodwink hero, and you think you're good at the game, you're not. All right, let's take it easy. Let's take some humble pie. It's a terrible hero. Why is there a squirrel in Dota 2, John? Why is there a squirrel in Dota 2?
Well, you gotta admit, the past few heroes were kind of hinting. We've got Pangolier who shows up in the picks as well. So we've been slowly devolving into the furry degeneracy that has cultivated.
Let's not judge furries, John. There's nothing wrong with making that choice.
That's true.
It's
That's
just
true.
the animal itself makes me sick, and the fact that they got, for anyone wondering, by the way, the accent that she has is New Zealander. We don't have squirrels, so I'm not sure why it's a squirrel. You could have chosen the other 1,000 animals that could kill us in Australia and New Zealand, but they chose a squirrel of all things.
Oh man, you made me realize it could have easily been a drop bear, and that would have been perfect. That would have been it. It would fit perfectly in because it's annoying.
Well,
It kills you.
let's talk about the draft. And obviously, some people came here to actually watch the games on today, so we should actually, talk about those. Shout out to the people spamming ducks in chat, by the way. Someone asked me to shout them out. We see the loyalty you have for Febby. Of course, shout out to the cat jammers, though. You're the real ones out there. But the ducks are also pretty darn good. Still TNC. They go for the Viper Pangolier opening, a very strong one to open up with. I believe that should be an offlane Viper and probably a position 4 Pango by Tim's. Team Dog, they go for the Enchantress into the Tiny as well, which is fairly interesting because obviously the Enchantress is very lane dominant. Kind of useless after that, but before that point in the lane, she generally just wins you the lane outright. And of course the Tiny, it's just Tiny. It's always going to be kind of strong. And now it has Craggy Coat back, so we're back to Dota 1 we go.
Yeah, it's an interesting shard, and all those shards that go back to these older skills are rather funny. Tiny in particular. Craggy is such a trolly passive. If you've never played against it, or if you just kind of joined in Dota when Crag was taking off, you're lucky. Craggy is something to behold. Still solid opening for Team Dog. Lane dominant, as you mentioned. Probably looking to lock in their supports, so these are more than likely the 4-5. You've got flexibility with perhaps running Core Ench off, which I believe we've seen in South America specifically, we could see Tiny mid, although picking up the Abed here doesn't tend to be what Team Dog does, but options are there. TNC for their part, picking up the Undying now as well, so potentially seeing a Pangolier Undying support duo come true. Of course, Undying did get some adjustments to his kit, some minor mana adjustments and some minor adjustments to his laning, but overall it's still a solid hero. You've got great impact still with your Soul Rip. You're still going to be able to keep people alive. Issue here for TNC is this draft can run at you, but it does not have any solid lockdown, so we only really have Rolling Thunder so far to keep heroes in their place. That could be an issue down the line if their other picks don't rectify this. Compare that to what Team Dog has. They've got Enchantress with her creeps. Maybe you pick up a Centaur, maybe a Golem for control. She's got a good slow on top of that. Tiny has Avalanche Toss, so a little bit more control there from Team Dog, and maybe a bit easier to build off on. TNC with this kind of opening are looking to just run at you straight off the bat. They need to dominate their lanes. They need to win out their matchups, and if they don't, it can fall a bit flat if they fall too far behind.
Well, there's the Morphling coming out now for Team Dog, and I suppose some things just never change, John. The Morphling's still a very potent kind of carry to have in the current meta, and Team Dog will happily take it. Of course, very good up against heroes like the Undying as well, because you can get your own Tombstone going. You can even Soul Rip yourself. Even the Decay's kind of nice to have as the Morph. So I do like this pickup here from Team Dog, and just naturally going to add to the team fight that TNC already kind of had with that Tombstone. Now as Team Dog, you can just take it for yourself. And I should preemptively tell people, by the way, that there probably will be a lot of, do I dare say, complaining about some certain changes that were made. There'll be, we will be pointing out very, very balanced things in Dota 2 right now with the new shard system. Very good stuff. Did I tell you, John, I had 8 games yesterday when the patch came out. I won 1 of those 8 games. 7 of those were losses. I had 2 Techies games, both of which were on my team. I had 2 games with the Squirrel on it that we lost somehow. I wasn't playing. And then the rest of the games, I was against Hoodwink. And we lost. It didn't feel good, John. It did not feel good at all.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to say, you've fallen prey to the greatest mistake that a lot of us make. You never go into a fresh patch and expect anything good, and that's your fault. I have to say, we've been through this so many times, Mike. You should know better by now. If you want to keep your MMR, don't go in on fresh patch days. Stuff happens, man. Stuff happens.
All right. Well, the Void Spirit now comes out for TNC, which kind of makes me think now, is it going to be an offlane Viper, right? Because we've seen KP, he really does enjoy playing this offlane Void Spirit quite a bit, and I could see him going down that route. Otherwise, of course, you can throw it to Armel, and he'll take care of it. Either way, very flexible kind of mid and off lane now. And Void Spirit's one of the ones that kind of got a very interesting arcane, or excuse me, not arcane, but Aghanim shards. You get the extra portals now when you dissimulate, if I remember correctly. Which kind of makes it so now you have even more mobility, I would argue. As we do see Team Dog go back to the Arbed Storm Spirit, which is going to be very strong for them. And forgive me, John, I don't actually remember what Storm Spirit's shards do now. I haven't had the pleasure of playing against or with it yet. Do you happen to know? Have you got a browser up to check? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's got the rave. He's got the rave, so he can give everyone a charge of Overload, 3 charges of Overload and an AoE around him, last 12 seconds, and it passively gives the Storm Spirit 40 attack speed. So it's a nice pickup. Probably not a rush item unless you really value like 40 attack speed. 3 Overload charges for your entire team is pretty nice though. So I'm not sure if you're gonna slot that in immediately at the 20-minute mark as Storm. We tend to see the build up into Bloodstone, so Kaya Bloodstone. You tend to see maybe an Orchid, maybe Yules, into usually a BKB. If you bypass a BKB, you rush the Ags or something else. So it's a bit tight. Could be possible if you're off to a good start. Could be good to come back as well if your team can back you up. In here, you've got Morphling who will benefit from it, Enchantress who can sort of benefit from it. So there are some good options there for that Rave. Not sure if you'd want it. Compare that to Void Spirit, you pointed out, dissimulate with the outer ring. Much harder to catch that Void Spirit when he does dissimulate out, so it gives you more options for movement there. I'd say overall, the storm pickup here from Team Dog on top of, the shards coming into play. Doesn't have too much control to worry about. Like, what do you have in TNC? You have Remnant from Void Spirit, which isn't the most reliable, and this is a very slippery hero in the Storm. So TNC's got to put extra work in to catch Abed Storm out. Looks like he is very comfy picking it here now. You do see the banouts as well. TNC do take out the Darkseer and the Tide, and Team Dog are taking out more core safe laners. The Alk and AM taken out, so going to be an interesting way to close out these drafts. Team Dog looking like they still need their off lane here.
Yep.
And it should be the Ice hero.
You know what I'm liking right now, John?
Yeah.
Something, and it was banned out anyway, so we're not going to get to see it. But Tide offlane seems kind of broken again.
Yeah.
Have you seen this shards upgrade he gets?
Yep.
I tested it earlier. That was my last pub game today. Man, it's a lot of fun. Like going right click anchor smash Tide. It's just stupid how broken it is once you get the shards up.
It is. I think the thing with the Tide shards was that right-click Tide was always sort of a thing as well.
Right.
In the past patch, right? Like we saw Masaros. Yeah, he used to build Desolator. In fact, if you were winning and you needed more physical, you go Deso anyway. So this just makes it win so much more. Probably not pick up a 20 again, but it's definitely a pickup in the game. Team Dog do close out with the Batrider, and TNC do go with a Slark. So, interesting way of closing out these drafts. The Bat, of course, not going to enjoy lassoing the Slark, but everyone else is fair game here. Gabby's Slark, it's one of those heroes that does enjoy a strength morphling. You can kind of rip away, take some stacks up, start to build up some more agi on your end to really take these fights, but they still have this control issue. So you have Remnant and Pounce being it for TNC. There's a lot of ways for Team Dog to slip in and out. They've got a Storm and a Morph. These are highly mobile. Even a Batrider might be a bit hard. So TNC's got to work extra hard to keep these heroes locked in place. They've got to win their lanes out. They've got a Viper, Pango, Undying, and a Void Spirit. These heroes are very dominant in the early game. They need to play to this fast pace and shut down Team Dog before their Morphling and Storm can find farm here.
Absolutely. Of course, I gotta say, shout out to the Twitch chat, John. They're going off right now. I see a lot of dog eats dog eats duck spam going on. So obviously, we've got a lot of fans from both sides, both ends of the spectrum. And, well, I look forward to it, John. I mean, based off draft, who do you think does have an advantage going into game number 1?
Oh, I would say Team Dog. I like their draft a lot more. They've got the Storm Spirit. They've got this Morphling for IYD. The hold of TNC just doesn't give me much confidence. You've got Pangolier roll. You've got Remnant from the Void Spirit. You've got Pounce from your Slug. That's it. None of them are the most reliable. They do have really strong lanes, but they will have to really win out here fast. Team Dog, if they fall flat in these lanes, you give TNC an edge. It might be hard to find a space out. You're talking about Morphling that needs farm, Storm that needs farm, and a Batrider that'll also need some space to farm up. So it can be a bit dicey if they fall too far behind. I think if you draw out these lanes, it will favor Team Dog going into that 10 to 15 minute mark. TNC definitely just need to get themselves an advantage. I'd say if they're like 3k ahead at 10 minutes into the 15-minute mark, if they maintain that 3k lead, they're in a really good spot. But if they don't find that, they run out of time fast.
Well, let's see how it all pans out. Game number 1 of the upper bracket final between TNC and, of course, Team Dog is set to begin. And I look very, very forward to seeing how this one does pan out. Of course, we have to have the question answered. Do dogs really eat ducks, John? We're about to find out. Ducks can be dangerous. In fact, in some parts of Australia, John, this is a true story, by the way. The university I used to go to, back when I was living in Melbourne, they had a big pond where there was ducks. And if you tried to feed or chase the ducks, they would chase you back. Literally all the way back to your apartment or your housing at the uni. They would literally chase you. And bite on you, by the way. So,
oh, that's unfortunate. And this is still going on. So it's just some context on the all chat as well. They did receive a timer, a penalty, a level 1 penalty here on the side of Team Dog because Afu took a while. I said Afu had to be in the hospital. He was in an accident, and he comes at the last minute. Everyone rejoiced at the miracle of Afu. And apparently, I don't know what he contracted. He says easy COVID. Stay safe, guys.
Yeah, stay safe. But if you are Afu, obviously you just get over it straight away. So no need for him. Took a hospital visit for about, a minute or two and came back completely cured. Arfu was the cure all along.
Yeah, that is good news for Team Dog if they manage to maximize that. Still, looks like an even rune start. KP grabbing 2. They will at least start with an early tri lane here, TNC, clumping up top. Look at Febby and Tims camping around the tree line. And IYD spots them, though. So they're aware. Tims takes a couple of hits. They might see Febby come out. Still have the opportunity, but they really have to get the damage in. No control means they just have to nuke them down fast here.
I mean, with the Viper, you can get it done. Paulson, he may be a bit overextending, or maybe not. They don't want that target. KP has yet to skill up anything as well. Generally, you'd opt to go for the Nether Toxin rather than the poison attack to try and push out the wave as the Viper. But for now, KP is just holding on to a skill point to see what he can abuse this lane. And it looks like, of course, we have the TP out. Tims is going to go for the creep pull back behind that tier 1 tower. And he might just take this creep wave to just try and get his own level 2. Which is absolutely fair enough, because the Pango is somewhat useless up until he does have the lucky shot up. And yeah, it looks like he is going to take it. Meanwhile, Paulson was being chased down by KB, but KB now, he'll just try to be as disruptive as possible while his Pos 4 is getting an extra level. In fact, he's going to be forced to TP out. He does get caught out of position all the way back to the fountain for KP. So a bit unfortunate for him. He actually sells his Sage's Mask and goes for a Windlace instead. So switching it up very early on here for this Viper.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of playing that lane. Again, it looks like they will just prioritize Tims for the most part, so your Pango is still going to get him level beats up and going. Still, we've got some time. Taking a look down mid, the Spirit Brothers showdown. Void Spirit versus the Storm. Looking like Armel is finding a little bit more early on. Does have really nice wave clear with the Resonant Pulse. Blocks out Abed's opportunities to harass. Abed still has the static remnants to play with in the overload, but looks like he is taking it safe. Armel has been really good in the offense. So the slightly slower start for Abed could mean some issues if he doesn't get relief, especially when those power runes come out. Team Dog will have to at least get their supports out in a timely manner to secure those runes, as if you give Armel a really nice rune here, he could just overtake while Abed doesn't hit that level 6 mark.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing goes for both of them right now with those power runes. And, well, that's one thing that was never really changed in the new patch thus far. The power runes still just spawn the exact same way, and it's kind of based on RNG, who does get the rune. I have a funny feeling, John, that there should be a bit more of a minor patch coming out with maybe a map change very, very soon. And that'll probably be one of the changes that does come out. However, top lane, Policy does get pretty low. He is going to survive as now Arfu does rotate back onto KP. This Viper going to be in massive trouble. In your dream is going to be able to pick up the first kill of the game. In fact, they'll even go onto Tims now. And poor old Tims is just going to have to try and swashbuckle away. But they do get the main target, which is going to be KP's Viper.
Yeah, and it's going to be a slightly slower start. This sort of sacrificial start he had is starting to bite him in the bum. Tims is still getting EXP. You are sacking your Viper here. This rotation out from Afu is also because that you're at the point where Ice down. Bot is just able to solo. Like, there's not much Undying can do against a solo laner. Sure, he can stack the Ks up, but you're also not getting as much value. Decay is a lot costlier to cast out now as well. So Ice is just getting what he wants. He might not be the most farmed in the off lane, but he's getting the EXP, and that's all you really need. So you just enable this Tiny to go around early, and look at Afu. He's already down mid, trying to get some relief off onto Abed, just forcing Armel to walk around as well.
Oh, nice steal on that haste rune, Afu. He got really lucky that it was a haste, but it was a very nice steal away from Armel. Of course, Armel would have really liked that rune for himself, as the haste would really kind of activate his gank potential once he does hit level 6. Meanwhile, bot lane, Ice, he's getting very low on that Batrider, but he is going to be able to just walk away and just abuse that Firefly movement speed just a little bit. That being said, Gabby, he has had a pretty tough laning stage so far in this Slark, only 14-7. The Ice is still finding himself ahead on the Batrider as we speak. And it's going to be really good news. I mean, you already kind of pointed this out for Team Dog, but these lanes, apart from maybe the mid lane, are going very well for this Team Dog side. And even that mid lane, I mean, he's a little bit behind, but Abed is not that far behind.
Yeah, they're still getting stuff off the map. Abed's still able to sort of play catch up. Again, barely a wave behind. Saw Paulson being tagged down a bit, but they do manage to grab an even amount of bounty runes each side. So not many scuffles over that,
KB,
although...
he's been caught out here, Arfu. Gonna spot him out. Tims will be around with Febby. They're gonna try and rush the Tiny, but they have no way to cancel a TP. And this is something you mentioned in draft, is they are very, very limited in what they can do. If someone just TPs away, you're either going to need Gabby there or you're going to need Armel there until KP has a rod of ATOS up, which he is working towards. But that's going to take a bit more time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit slower for KP in this farm. He's got a tri-lane going again. They're trying to relieve the Viper of pressure. They understand that they can't do anything to ice, but this might cost them. Look at Afu's position. Really far back, but he isolates one.
He does. Tim's going to be in danger. Soul Rip is going to come out, and Tims will just go for a quick TP away, and he is going to be just fine. Meanwhile, the mid lane, they're fighting over that 6-minute power rune. Abed, can he make it in time? It looks like Arfu is going to be there to take it again, and he will. Febby unable to swipe it away from him, and now poor old Armel going to be very low, but Arfu is unable to break the distance. And so Armel will be able to survive another day. But things are getting very heated in this mid lane, and Arfu may be able to sneak his way in. He does have a mango for the Avalanche toss combination. So he has enough to run it. And if he does connect the Avalanche toss, I believe that may just be enough. But it's not going to be there. He'll leave it be for now. The invis is starting to run out. Maybe go down to the bot lane where Ice needs a bit of help. In fact, he might just be dead. Sticky Napalm, not going to be enough. Gabby is able to pick up a kill by himself on that Slark, and that's something Gabby was starting to desperately need.
Yeah, it's that Slark versus Batrider matchup that's not really nice for Ice. I mean, he can still sustain the lane as a ranged hero with Napalm spam, but Gabby at 6, with the Shadow Dance available, with higher levels of Dark Pack, can just take away a lot of the presence of Ice. So it's at that point where Ice might be treading on thin ground, might just want to consider constantly creep cutting, getting some camps up. You are getting some good stacks out here with your supports out of that lane though. Paulson has worked that top jungle really well, looking at a good amount of stacks to clear out down the line. So the cores will get a good gold injection, and that is something that we talked about Team Dog's lineup needing. You do need that initial injection here on Abed and on In Your Dream, and Abed's already getting started. Just a huge amount of gold that will fly out to him, rushing his Orchid out, and once you have that in a timely manner, so much more control comes out here for Dog.
Well, that bot lane, Ice just avoided a gank. So Febby's smoke was broken, so they couldn't really close the gap on the Batrider. So Armel, he's going to go into the mid lane instead, where he'll spot out Arfu. He does have that level 7, so he wants to make a play right here, right now, and he does make the double jump in. Arfu is going to die to KP, it looks like, and he does. Ice, he was around the area, but he doesn't really have the lasso skilled up right now, and even if he did, I don't believe he would have made the jump in.
Yeah, it's a good movement out. You finally do find some punishment out. Not the biggest target to take, mind you, but this does stall out our Tiny's timing at the 6. Our Tiny's blink timer as well. That is really important even for the supports. So a little bit more waiting has to be done here for Afu. This is buying out so much space for Abedo. He's just playing in that jungle perfectly. You are seeing TNC kind of give that investment to Armel as well. Like, after that kill, he's clearing out his own stacks. He's got his urn ready, along with his bottle, so he is just looking to be active. They might be eyeing Paulson down bot for that, as they're in position.
He's got the Orb of Corrosion now on Gabby, and they jump in. Paulson going to be in danger, and he just gets blown up. Mel going to be there with the follow-up damage, and of course, with Max Dissimulate, you do tend to do quite a bit of damage. So it's a nice little combination there with the Slark, because you can almost guarantee you land the Dissimulate with the Pounce out. Armel with an Arcane Rune could keep going around, but it is going to wear off. Still, Arfu now does show himself in the mid lane. He's going to be safe for now by that tier 1 tower, and I mean, you talked about Abed farming really well in that Storm Jump, but in your dream, he's farming even better. TNC, I mean, they must know this is happening. It just seems like they don't really have an option as to slow them down yet.
No, they lack the hold to punish a Morphling. They don't have a Spirit Vessel up yet, so they're going to have to wait for Armel to get that upgrade on first, which means that they're just going to allow In Your Dream to do this. They are starting to get a little bit of that same space for Gabby. We're seeing In Your Dreams lead slightly about 300 gold above, so it's not a massive lead by any means. But you're not seeing that massive lead we expected TNC to try and get yet.
Bounty Rune gonna go the way of Arbet up at that top lane. In Your Dream, gonna try and fight out with Tims a bit, but he's gonna waveform away. Still Tims does swash into the Rolling Thunder. In Your Dream may have gone a bit too far. The Viper Strike comes out as well. He needs to try and survive. The break is there. In Your Dream trying to tank it, will waveform away, but KP is gonna keep the chase up. It's just not gonna be enough, however. The Strength Morph is more than enough to keep him up, and meanwhile, mid lane, Mel's going to be in danger. Arbed does get one more attack in, and Arfu is going to be able to toss Mel up, so Arbed can finish off the kill. And that's a big, big shame for TNC. They miss out on the Morphling kill, and they lose Armel in the process.
Yeah, they needed Armel up there with a Spirit Vessel for additional DOT to finish up In Your Dream. Again, ideally, you'd want the full upgrade, not just the Urn. It's still a long way off. You can see Armel is queuing up that Spirit Vessel upgrade out, but he is just a bit too slow. He needs to find a couple more kills. You are seeing Tim step up to the plate, but again, just with Rolling Thunder, you just don't have enough lockdown.
Mel, he's going to miss the Aether Remnant. Eventually, it does connect onto Polison, but so he wanted to try and make the play onto Arbet.
Ice?
Meanwhile, Ice, mid lane does get a nice lasso off onto Tims, and it's going to be another nice, easy kill. And the way this game's going so far, Team Dog, they are really starting to take over. You've still got Gabby farming up nicely in the back, but it's a Slark versus Morphling Storm. It's a very, very tough matchup for the Slark later on.
It definitely is. It's a lot of pressure on Gabby if he does want to go for this late game situation. He might be able to find a nice kill, but it looks like Paulson knows better. They do apply good pressure mid. It is defended, so we're not seeing any tower trades taken yet. We're past the 10-minute mark, so this is a bit slower than before. We tend to see tier 1s gone earlier on. Gabby gets a nice snipe, but
Arbed gonna try and make the jump onto Gabby. Dark Pack gonna be expended, and there's your Shadow Dance. He doesn't want to risk anything with this Storm at the moment. And luckily for him, Arbed did not have the Orchid up yet, but he will very, very soon. And that's gonna be the point where if you're Gabby, you start to shake it a little bit, as you are gonna lose this mid tier 1 tower. And Arbed is ever so close now to that Orchid being up. And assuming you get the Dark Pact off preemptively, you're going to be fine. But if you don't, and that silence does come out, you are just going to be gone as Gabby.
And right now, TNC using this downtime to just farm up that jungle. They're playing around that top jungle really well. They haven't really traded for a tower, though. Like, again, their mid-tier 1's gone. They're going to look for the top tier 1 instead. Not the biggest objective for Dog to drop. They've already taken that bot tier 1. So they're already one step up. They maintain a 3k lead as well at 30 minutes. We talked about the timings TNC needed to hit. They wanted to be 3k ahead before the 15-minute mark. So still not finding that start with their lineup. They are closer and closer towards this route of Atos on KP that was pointed out. So once that's up, maybe you get more control. The Spirit Vessel is only lacking the recipe as well. So you've got some good item spikes here for TNC. The issue then is they've got to find In Your Dream. In Your Dream, he's playing that triangle. He was playing in the bot jungle. He does have his Eagle Song up, so he's just lacking the Ghost Scepter for his shotgun. Once you have that, he's going to be nuking people down as he wishes.
Ice going to run into Armel. They do get the Aether Remnant. Ice just going to go for a TP out, and they can't stop it. They cannot stop it. And John, these item timings from Team Dog, they are coming online way too quick. Orchid up at 13 minutes. You've got the Blink Dagger coming out on Arfu in about 30 seconds. He just needs to take a creep camp out. It's going to be a very kind of terrifying next 10 minutes, as that Orchid Blink is going to be a real nuisance to TNC. As now Arbed going to get the Orchid off, and Armel has no way to purge it off. They get the Vortex. Ice will commit the lasso, and it's all well worth it to kill off Armel on that Void Spirit. So he's kind of the beating heart of TNC in this game right now, and well, his game is not going that well. He just got a Spirit Vessel, but is not going to be able to abuse it quite yet. And the way this is going for TNC, it starts to feel like most of this game is going to be on Gabby's shoulders.
Definitely is feeling that way. They do smoke up, but this is without Armel. It's a really awkward smoke without your Void Spirit. I'm not sure what they hope to accomplish.
I believe it's a
Drawing
panic
a
smoke,
line
John.
up. Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, we've already seen the issues, right? If you drag KP, Tims, and Febby, they just TP out. You literally can't stop it. Like,
Oh, smoke
maybe with
broken.
Aetos.
Gabby's got a Diffusal Blade. He's going to run into Polison. Get stunned up for a second, but they are going to get the kill. That was the Diffusal being shown to the side of Team Dog. As now Armel misses another 8th. The Remnant, and the Remnant in by Arbed. Straight onto Gabby. They'll get one. Onto KP. They'll get another. And they know where Tims is. They're a bit low on mana on Arbed. Tim's going to try and juke them out here on the Pango. But instead, you just go after the Tombstone. No reason to chase down the Pango when you can just get free gold safely like this for Arbed. Yeah, a lot of misses for Arbed, but he does eventually get the kill. That's a 5k net worth lead though, John. Team Dog, they're well and truly off.
They really are. The TNC draft needs to find something within the next, I'd say, 10 minutes. If you reach 25 minutes with this deficit, it's all down to Gabby. And you see what happens when Gabby shows up. Like, yeah, he finds a support kill with his Diffusal. He needs a lot more than that. He's going to need a BKB this game, if not a Lotus Orb, or not the Lotus, Lincolns or something, just to block one instantaneous piece of control.
Well,
but it's just such a dicey spot for him now.
Yeah, he's going to need it ASAP, John. In Your Dream's got a shotgun up now. That's a quick Ethereal Blade on In Your Dream. And that is going to spell more problems as, again, the item timings from Team Dog are just coming out way too quick. And now mid lane, KP trying to farm up is just going to get bursted down. He can't survive the Orchid damage, I don't believe. However, Arbed getting low, but Tims could not make it in time. And the TP away from Arbed is going to be good. They'll at least kill off Arfu on the Tiny. It's just not a worthwhile trade, as you did have to give up your Viper for that.
No, it's a huge win for Dog. They're constantly building up. We've seen what happens when Vipers fall behind. They tend to take the backseat and farm. That does allow them to take the mid-tier 1, but maybe even find a skill in Paulson.
Well, Soul Rip's going to come in. Gabby, a nice pounce in, and Paulson is going to go down. Arbed unable to help out, but now Ice is going to be around the corner. It looks like they're not really that interested. I don't think Paulson really minds dying that much as your position 5 Enchantress. And I think for Gabby, although he is getting these kills, he probably definitely wants something a bit more valuable than the position 5.
Yeah, definitely. He's getting some permanent Agi stacks though, so no matter what, at least you get some stat value there for the Slark. He is going for this SNY build as well, so again, orienting himself in that mid-game-ish or early-late game part of the game, and should still find a good timing on the SNY. We're seeing Gabby sort of keep up with In Your Dream. He's not falling too far behind, just about 1.6 gold behind, so it's not too bad yet, but TNC, the impact you're seeing from KP is starting to diminish. We haven't even seen the effect of his Aetos fully. Like, it's been there for so long, but it hasn't led to anything substantial just yet. The Spirit Vessel for Armel has been sitting at 4 charges. They just have never been able to rotate onto In Your Dream, and that's the target they want with a Spirit Vessel. So it's just a missed item if they're not finding these kills that they want.
Well, Gabby, he knows Ice is in the tree line somewhere. Tim's going to join in. Does connect with the Swashbuckle, but Ice is going to throw out a Flame Break, and they give up on the chase. He is just way too quick with these Boots of Travel and the Faded Brooch there. Even the Windlace on top. It's just such a fast Bat Rider at the moment. Meanwhile, they've got to kind of pay some attention to this mid lane as the tier 2 tower is going to start being attacked. Looks like KP is there on defense duty, while TNC, well, the rest of them are going to find out In Your Dream, but can you burst this Morphling down? It looks like the answer is probably going to be no, but they might just give it a shot. Loop around into the triangle. Again, spotting out this Morphling. Gabby, he's going to sneak in. Does get the pounce off. They disarm him as well. In Your Dream does actually get bursted down. A very nice kill. Can they find any more? Not quite, but that is a very valuable one to pick up.
Yeah, just rather unfortunate for Team Dog, but that was what TNC's been looking for, I'd say, the entire past 9 minutes since they got these early item pickups. So they find a big kill they want. They do manage to get a good amount of gold running their way. That was a 600 gold swing towards TNC. So a good injection there, but they leave themselves vulnerable. Look at this, Team Dog. They are smoked up now.
That they are, but Arfu going to have his smoke broken, and TNC, they still have the high ground. So they have the advantage here going into Arfu. It's going to be a nice, easy kill. And great presence of mind there from TNC to continue to hold that high ground and read the smoke rotation. However, Ice, Lasso, not going to be up. The Glimmer Cape is there from Gabby. He does Lasso up Tims instead. Going for the easy kill, but the chase is still on the pounce.
Ooh.
It does not connect. Gabby just kind of flew right past him. Is now towards the top lane. Arbet going to go after Armel, but he will just dissimulate away, and he should be alright, or maybe not. He's used both his astral steps. But Arbet is not going to continue this chase as KB's around now. Rod of Atos going to come in. Gabby, no pounce out yet. It was on cooldown. They do miss out on a very valuable kill on the Storm Spirit, but I suppose for TNC, they'll probably just be satisfied that Armel survived that initiation from Arbet.
Yep, it's a good save out for Armel. Really far forward there for Abed. You can see that he's trying to apply as much pressure as possible while he can, while he's got this huge boost on his Storm. You are starting to see some catch-up from TNC. Armel, in comparison to Abed, is just about 1,000 gold behind, so he's not lagging too far behind. The biggest issue for TNC is KP, but this is a Viper. And KP just needs to slowly build into these aura builds we tend to see. Still only holds a hood though, but they do smoke up once more. They don't have any major cooldowns here in TNC, so they can keep running.
Well, they run straight into Ice. It's a nice pick-off to get, and the run of Atos is going to be up from KP, and that'll mean Team Dog will lose another. That's some gold that KP desperately needed on this Viper. And with that, they may even rush the Roshan pit, knowing that Batrider, your main scouting tool and kind of initiation for Team Dog, is not going to be there. So this Roshan going to go down very, very quickly. And your only real option is to throw Arbet into the pit and hope he can steal it away. But it looks like they may not even attempt it.
It's going to be a big objective TNC's allowed to go through for free. And, well, they're not contested at all. So Gabby gets that second life. Unfortunate for Arbet, he can't really risk it. Again, there's not much stuns to worry about. So that actually would have been relatively safe for Arbet, all things considered. But that does give TNC some breathing room here for Gabby to keep his farm up. He does have his SNY done, along with that diffusal that we saw earlier, working into his Scotty. So your Slark is actually hitting some pretty good item timings here. In contrast to In Your Dream, still saving up for his Manta, is very close to it. So he's also meeting his timings well. But that gap between In Your Dream and Gabby has shrunk. It's still at the steady 1,000 gold. It means less and less as this game goes on. So the lead Team Dog has had, well, it's starting to sort of feel less significant as this game drags out, and Team Dog has to be aware of that. They've got to be cautious with how far forward Ice is, as he's been the most vulnerable to these pickoffs.
They see Gabby up at that top lane, and Arbet is going to zip in with the Orchid out. Gabby, he did not Dark Pack preemptively. He does have the Aegis, but he might just lose it. That'll be one life. Can they get him a second time? They're going to try, but Gabby will Shadow Dance straight off the bat and just run away as his team is coming in to back him up. But can they take this team fight now without the Slark ulti? So the answer is going to be no for TNC. They'll just happily back out and accept the fact that they did just lose the Aegis. I think for Team Dog, they're just going to be satisfied with the fact that that Aegis is down now. In fact, they're ready to go again. They've smoked up. They want to try and make a play, while knowing roughly where TNC are going to be in terms of location. But in fact, they are running down south. They do spot out Armel on the Void Spirit. It's still a very, very big pick-off to get. He does have the Yules up, but the zip in from Arbet into the Vortex and the Avalanche toss is going to be way more than enough. They get another kill onto Armel. That Team Dog, they don't really have an objective to go for, but they can still just farm the map. That's probably the best they can ask for right now.
Yeah, I mean, if they get this game dragging longer and longer.
Shadow Dance going to be out in time again. He almost got blown up, and now In Your Dream could be in danger. Viper Strike's going to be there. In Your Dream going to try and fight this out, but Arbet zipping right into the backlines. Gabby, he got the Dark packed off in time. He will survive as they keep chasing down In Your Dream, but he's also going to be alright. Both cores able to just kind of get themselves away from very dangerous predicaments. That was some quick fingers from Gabby to get that Dark packed off. He avoided both the Vortex and the Silence out from Arbet.
It's really big. This time being wasted by Dog. TNC don't get to farm too efficiently as well, though. So both teams are just sort of poking at each other, trying to get a lead. You are at least, again, having that potency here on the side of Team Dog. If it goes late, you've got these upgrades for your Storm. You've got the Morphling down the line, which is going to stay big for TNC. There's still a hanging, lingering question on how far your Slark can take you. Like, looking at Gabby, he's been sort of stuck at the Scotty for a while. He's going into the Ags afterwards. And that was buffed up, right? Like a slight increase to the range on the counts. Not sure if it's going to be enough to really keep that in. Of course, we used to see Ags rush Slark before. So it does have its place. It's been done a lot before. It's been a while. So we're going to have to see if Gabby can maximize that. But that's still way down the line. Like, he still has to finish the Scotty first.
That he does. They want to go after this tier 2 tower now. TNC will slowly get started. Pretty much everyone there from TNC, but Ahmed going to zip in with a massive silence, and now after the Avalanche toss is going to be enough. They've killed off the Slark. Armel, he committed both his Astral Steps to try and fight this one out. Tims will also commit the Rolling Thunder, but they definitely have to run as Ice. He's not done. He wants the lasso. He gives himself a whipping as he chases down Tims. Tims had that Glimmer Cape, but it's not going to last long enough. He'll try to swashbuckle away, but they have the control there from Arfu. And I don't believe they need the lasso, but they will commit just in case. And in your dream, the one to pick up the triple kill on this Morphling is going to be very, very happy about that.
And these are big wins coming out for Team Dog. They're keeping Gabby down. They're increasing the lead with IYD. His BKB is pretty much almost done. Once you've got that on IYD, suddenly that Spirit Vessel's not an issue. What's that small control TNC's had is not going to be an issue as well. They keep going.
Yeah, they've got KB there in the mid lane, and the Avalanche toss with the Orchid is going to be way more than enough to take down KB. However, Gabby is there with the Diffusal Blade, slowing up Arfu, but he is unable to chase as the 4-staff away was there. That'll pretty much be it. Team Dog not forcing anything too far. They're starting to understand their limits here with this draft, and they're just finding little wins over and over again, and that's generally the way to win a game of Dota 2.
Yeah, just taking these small wins, building it up. They've already secured a lot of the map for themselves anyway. They are pretty much all tier 1s down. For the side of TNC, they've taken one tier 2 as well here in Team Dog. So they do hold most of the map in their end. They've got this BKB now for In Your Dream. That's done in that downtime. So he's going to be very hard to control indeed for the side of TNC. And it's really just the Gabby game now. Look at the farm difference. Armel is kind of tied up with his Storm, kind of tied up with Abed, but he needs his item timings to be out soon. The Ags is going to be a major spike for him. Just can't come out fast enough.
In Your Dream is going to haste through an active. They're going to rush in, and they go straight after that Viper again. They just want KB dead every time, but Armel has jumped in after Arfu. It's not going to be enough damage. In Your Dream just running around trying to find another target, but he does not want to go into the high ground of TNC. Just going to back off once again after getting a very nice off-lane pick-off. In fact, they might reinitiate. In Your Dream, he still has that Void Spirit morph. So he can feel quite confident in being able to just back off if he needs to. Looks like they're not going to really rush. They're happy again to go back to the triangle and farm up. And I believe both these teams are probably going to wait out the Roshan timer now. As that really is the big objective for them to both go for once it is up. And we are going to find out in about 1 minute when that is going to be available.
Yeah, just a safe play for Team Dog. They hold control in that triangle, so they can easily swing to that Roche anyway. They've got a courier watching already. They're constantly keeping the mid and top lane shoved. There's no real opportunity to swing for TNC unless they smoke, which they have.
Oh, In Your Dream, he's going to be careful, but OKB, he shows himself for a second, maybe trying to bait In Your Dream in, but now Armel jumps in. Not going to be enough, however. Paulson does die. Arfu in trouble as well. Will go down. So they do get 2 supports for their trouble. I suppose the best thing they could hope for right now is a very early Roshan timer for TNC. Even if it was early, it probably wouldn't be enough time to take it out before the supports do come back online for the side of Team Dog.
No, it's they don't quite deal as much that much damage just yet. It's still all on Gabby for that right click. The Roche timer is not short enough. It's a minute and a half, so they're probably gonna have to face up against these supports. You still got the issue of Abed zipping in as he pleases to take the Roche as well. As again, you still lack this control to lock in Abed. You've got to get the Atos off at a good time. And looking at Abed's build-up, he is going for the Ags on the Storm. So we're going to see the AoE Vortex come into play, the mini Black Hole, the mini RP. Just that added control on top of everything else they've already got is going to make it harder and harder for TNC to get their positioning right. You do have the Ags up on Armel, though, so this silence is going to be playing a big part. If you can land this on Abed, who did not opt for any defensive item, then you could find yourself some wins. Like, the Storm is very vulnerable like right now without a BKB or anything else to purge off, but Team Dog, they do smoke up.
Now, they actually have absolutely zero way to purge off that silence on the side of Team Dog. So it is definitely very, very valuable here for Armel. Nothing like a Lotus Orb going on, no BKBs apart from In Your Dream. And they do jump in now. They show off the Aghanim Scepter from Armel. So if you're Team Dog, you are well aware that that is there on Armel now. Love the fact that KP has a casual fluffy hat going on. Looks very nice on him.
Yeah. Gotta love the name of that one. It combines into the weirdest stuff, I have to say. The strangest thing about that hat. Didn't know hats that had that many uses.
No. Roshan is going on now. TNC, I'm sure, are aware that this could be happening. They are probably going to start moving their way in, but they've got to hurry up because that Roshan is getting very, very low. TNC still hanging around the mid lane, perhaps not realizing it is happening, and now they will, but it is way too late. So it does go down. Looks like TNC were kind of assuming there was a smoke going on. It's now Ice. It's going to Firefly through, going after KP. Does pop his BKB and does get the Viper out. Meanwhile, Arbet zipping in, going after Gabby. They're trying to kill off Arfu, but Arfu's still alive. Running away. Gabby, he's popped that ultimate. He's going to try and make the chase onto the Tiny, but it looks like Arfu is still alive. He does eventually tick out to the Spirit Vessel, but now Arbet back in, going after Gabby, but he pounces away. Onto Armel. He will Astral Step and Dissimulate, and he is going to be fine. It is still going to be a 1-for-2 trade, the way of Team Dog. And on top of that, they are going to be able to take down that tier 2 mid tower, and they still hold on to the Aegis. It was not taken off In Your Dream.
Yeah, they've got nothing to worry about here on the end of Team Dog. Like, they've got control of the map. They could easily go for the tier 2 top if they wanted to, but they're just going to let the creep wave do that with, what, four range creeps, so just a lot of damage coming through. Still, TNC... at least they find Afu. It's better than nothing right now, but they really need to start to find a grip on this game. The Scotty's been up on Gabby. He is still saving up for his Ags here. So once you have that, maybe the Pounce reach, it's going to allow you to do a little bit more here. Get yourself out safely as well. But you start to worry about the Ags timing for Abed. He pretty much has the gold if he wants to buy it out right now. No, he still lacks around 800, but once he has it, in that 800 gold, you're going to ask for a lot of trouble here, just giving the Storm this much space. Abed's not been punished once at all. He's 2-0 right now, and that's just perfect. And, oh, boy.
I can't buy item. You just bought the Blink, though. Ice. Armel, GG.
Gotta love Ice. You know, I was gonna say when he said that Afu was in an accident, I was gonna. Did you do that, Dice?
Never mind.
Just to make things interesting. All right, Ice.
I'm pretty sure Ice is trolling. He did buy the Blink. Maybe it was a bit of lag going on. There is a bit of lag in game right now, I've got to say, John. So to answer your previous question, no, the issues weren't fixed. So there you go. On the brighter side, though, we have a Squirrel hero now. So it's all worth it, you know? Who needs FPS in Dota 2?
No one does. It's a beta game. Why are you crying?
I'm not, John. I'm completely happy about this. TNC. They're going to hang out in the dire jungle now. Tim's going to be there with his team. They want to try and force down this top tier 2 tower. Gabby is very, very close to his own BKB up on the Slark, and it seems like he does need it to be able to feel like he can actually just stand there and fight. While he's going for that, however, In Your Dream does have the Eye of Skadi up himself on the Morph now. So he is feeling a lot stronger on that Morphling. As we can see, Team Dog, they're having a look around, trying to find where TNC is. Gonna spot him out quite yet, but they are nearby.
Yeah, well, you've got the Ags up and Abed. So mini Black Hole, mini RPs in play. That control is going to be killer, especially
Oh, jump in, Ice, a nice lasso out again onto the Viper. KP gonna get bursted and Abed zipping into the backlines, going after Gabby on the Slark. They found two in that Vortex. Armel, he was in danger, but he does survive. Meanwhile, In Your Dream gonna waveform away and try to buy himself some time as Abed keeps going on to Febby. The Soul Rip, not gonna be enough. Gabby coming back in with the toss out from Arfu. He's gonna try and fight this one out with the Shadow Dance. No, he will go for the TP away, and he is gonna be fine. It's still a 2-for-0 trade. They kill off the Viper, they kill off Febby on the Undying. And with that, a 10k net worth lead now out for Team Dog. They might be able to try and force down that top tier 2 tower.
They've got the option if they wanted to. Still, Gabby's got this BKB.
Gabby, he's going to try. He's going to go into Polison. In Your Dreams around, and Tim's going to get tossed back in. Polison is actually still alive. It does finally go down, but Gabby, have you gone too far with this BKB? Ice comes in now. No lasso available, but Gabby is dropping very, very low. He's trying to run, but the Vortex is out from Abed. He holds him down, and now KB is also going to die. Oh, and that's a... He has no buyback gold. He just bought that BKB up.
Yep, it's a big loss there for TNC. They could easily just lose their top D2, maybe even the high ground. But with 2 supports down, and with him being fairly low here on the side of Team Dog, looks like they're just going to be cautious about this. Take their time. In Your Dream does still hold the Aegis, but that's only got about 20 seconds left. Not too much time for one though.
Mid lane, zipping in onto Tim's again. He's trying to go for the Rolling Thunder, but he's been silenced up by the Orchid, and now the lasso's there. Ice ensuring they get the kill. And look at that, a free tombstone, John. They'll try to go for it, or maybe not. They'll lose the Aegis.
Ooh.
The timer was getting fairly low. Tim's Rolling Thunder is going to land once, but In Your Dream is able to waveform away. Mel's on the chase, however, catches him out. Can they take him down? He's been broken. However, Abed again with the Vortex again does catch out the Viper, and now they'll turn back around. They got the Resonant Pulse out. In Your Dream wanting to fight this one out now. They'll kill off Armel. They do not have buyback on him either. A 16k net worth lead now for TNC. Or excuse me, rather Team Dog. TNC have the 16k deficit. It's only getting worse as time does go on.
Yeah, this lineup's just not built for going this late on the side of TNC. So it's time they stack all their eggs into that Gabby basket, which they have been doing this entire game. It's just that Gabby's now 6k behind In Your Dream. So that is a lot more significant, even at this point in the game. That's one major item that In Your Dream is going to have ahead of anyone else. And In Your Dream is just about done with his own butterfly. So not only is it going to buff up his nuke with a shotgun, he's going to right-click like a madman. He's going to dodge some damage coming out from our Slark, who has not itemized for any sort of MKB. You're going to have to catch him in that break with the Atos, but that is such a tall order because of how slippery Abed In Your Dream is. And if you do use that Atos on him, you kind of leave the Storm to keep running around. So it's a pick your own poison kind of situation for TNC, and they just can't handle all of these issues at once. They're going to have to find a way to get that done.
Oh, he can smell KP, John. Ice has been all over KP this game. Going in again, we'll find him out, and poor old KP is going to die. It's been a very, very tough time for this Viper in this game number 1. And, we'll see if they can improve it. I mean, we've got tier 4 items coming up now. Of course, you saw the tiny Arfu. He does have that Trickster's Cloak up, which actually seems very valuable on the tiny, having that 6 seconds of invisibility. As well as that, I believe Gabby found that, I don't even know what it's called, that lightning neutral. The Stormcrafter or something.
Yep.
I don't know who's got it though. Nobody's holding it quite yet. Maybe they just deem it as not very useful.
It's Ice has got it, so it was on Team Dog's side, and it's really nice on him. You know, mana regen's always nice. He's not gonna have any issues now. He gets a little cyclone as well.
Lasso is going to be there with the Firefly out. This Morphling going to be in danger. Or rather, not the Morphling, but Bebby in your dream is going to come in and happily take the kill. By the way, John, did we mention that Arbit has a Timeless Relic?
Yep, always nice. We've seen this so many times when the Storm has the Ags as well, right? So you've got an even longer duration on that Vortex. Really nice for Abed to play with, and that just means TNC is going to have to watch themselves, stay on their toes. They still hold on to this last outer tower, but I'm sure you are starting to get a bit antsy here on the side of Team Dog. You do know that the next rush is going to be 2.5 minutes away, so a little bit of a longer respawn, which means that there is a little bit more time here for TNC to perhaps build some farm up, clear out all their tier 4s. Hasn't all dropped yet. That could give them a little bit of a boost. Still have a massive deficit to try and overcome, though.
But they do. Up at the top lane, KB in the tree line, getting ready to push out the creep waves that are coming. As they really need to defend that outer tier 2 tower, but never mind, in your dream does just come in and take it out himself, even without a creep wave. And this Morphling is very, very scary. He is well and truly out of control. There goes Tim's Courier at the secret shop, also going down. Like Gabby got a Trickster's Cloak of his own now, so does have a bit of utility with that Invis, and he is a bit more tanky on the Slark with that resist, but whether it proves to be enough is a different question entirely. Luckily for the side of TNC though, Team Dog, even with a 22k net worth lead, are respecting the draft of TNC. So they're not really interested in rushing too far forward yet. They've got to be careful now because TNC, they have smoked up. Paulison, it's not really the target they want, but they're going to have to settle for what they get. Arbed, however, a 3-man Vortex. He zips in with an Avalanche toss. Fu already getting rid of Armel. Now KP's gone. Tims will also die. Aeon Disc all without. Gabby, he's trying to fight it out, but Febby's also going to go down. It's Gabby versus the world once again, but Fu going to just toss away Arbed. Not allow Gabby to get anything out of this, and Gabby will be forced to BKB TP away. That's a 4-for-0 trade. I suppose they did get Paulison and forced him to buy it back, but it's an Enchantress. It may as well be a 4-for-0.
Yeah, it's not a big target at all for Dog to lose out on. They're going to be able to push 2 sets of lanes simultaneously with Ice just cutting the top one. And TNC, they don't have any big core coming out for 40 seconds. All they have is Gabby, so he's just doing what he can, split pushing the bot lane. They will give out these set of racks down mid, potentially even top. Heck, might be all of them if Team Dog really wants to play it that way. That's just how much of a lead they have. And the options for TNC are super limited for defense. Their lineup just doesn't do it that well.
But they don't. Ice, he's having a look around, seeing if he can find a target to go on. Not that he has the lasso anyway, but he'll have it up for the next team fight. Just about 8 seconds away now. They really may not need it, however, as these racks are just going down so quick to In Your Dream. KB going to rotate around to the Viper, trying to go after the Morphling by himself. He gets the break off, and now Gabby from the backlines with the Vortex Arbed. He got the target he wanted. Armel's going to jump in, but is it too late? They'll buy back on Gabby. They're going to try and make something happen, but all their Raxes are gone, and everyone is just TPing away. They're going to find nobody by the looks of it here, TNC. A very unfortunate turn of events for him. 35k net worth deficit as well for TNC, and what do you do now if you're this Radiant side? It almost feels like you've got to make a Hail Mary play, but it's just very tough when there's a 35k net worth lead for Team Dog.
I think if they want to play it safe, they wait for an Abyssal. If they want to take a risk, they smoke up and just go hunting again. They're just running around right now. They spot the Roche. That is also spotted out by the courier of Ice Ice Ice. So both teams are aware of that.
Abed, a three-man vortex out again. It's just massive in KB. He's going to get blown up. Armel's trying to fight back, but Gabby's gone. Fevy's gone. Armel the only one left, and they just call it. They have had enough of this game one. And Team Dog are off to a very, very good start in this best of three, as they do take game number one. They enjoyed themselves some Peking duck, John. It was very, very tasty stuff.
It definitely was. Team Dog just playing out of their minds there. Really good lanes coming out. Very solid draft. They got some favorites to come out. The Bat Rider, which tends to have been banned out, makes its appearance. The Abed Storm, not killed once. 6-0-18 for Abed. A perfect game for him in the Storm, and that is a scary prospect. I think that's something TNC should really respect. The Ice 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 Bat Rider and this Abed Storm just created so much space that In Your Dream just got the freest lane of his life, the freest jungle of his life, and got that build up. TNC, we talked about the issues of this draft. Needed to play a lot faster, needed to win out the laning phase. It did not. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what sort of playstyle they can bring up to punish Team Dog.
Absolutely. Of course, with that, John, we are going to have a very short 10-minute break. And once we are back, we do get into game two, and we'll see how they do switch things up to try and make a bit of a comeback here for TNC. Until then, Fire, we'll see you all again very, very soon. As, you saw many times Team Dog getting away with murder just because they can TP right out. Game 2, what would you like to see different from TNC?
I think the timings that they want to hit were still pretty darn good. I think this opener is a lot stronger for TNC. Mirana coming out with a Void Spirit. You at least have 2 stuns coming out. You've got the strong comfort hero for Tims, so he does get to pick up the Mirana. You've got flexibility with a Void Spirit pick. Could be Armel, could just be KP in the offlane instead. So it's rather open for TNC this time, and I think that helps their cause massively. Team Dog, for their part, go back into the Ench, go back into the Tiny. If it worked before, then why not do it again? I think that's the mindset they've got on hand. What we do have to see from TNC, though, is I think an Armel here that helps him match up against Abed a bit better. We need Armel to maybe dip into the Kunkka. They do have last pick overall here for TNC, but we tend to see Kunkka within the last 2 bans almost every single time if the mid's not picked up yet. So they might have to reveal the flexibility of their Void Spirit early, opt for a Kunkka pick in that second phase, and kind of maybe just save the Gabby hero for last. That's one way to kind of mitigate that. It makes it harder for Team Dog to opt for something like the last pick Storm, and we saw Abed. When he gets his Storm, and even Ice 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 when he gets his Bat Rider, those comfort heroes are just way too hard to deal with coming out from Team Dog.
I would agree with that. It was a very free kind of Storm game for Abed as well, to make matters worse. So you give him that hero that he loves to play, and then you give him the freest game of his life because you can't really lock him down. It was a very, very fun time for Team Dog, I'm sure. But I'm sure TNC Predator now wants some revenge in Game 2. And we do see the Mirana Void Spirit opening from them, but I do believe this time it is going to be an offlane Void Spirit for KP. They'll probably give Mel something else. You pointed out the Kunkka, something that he's very comfortable on and that he can kind of just dominate on. We'll see what they do opt to go for. Of course, apart from that, John, no shards being bought in Game 1. Very, very upsetting stuff. What happened?
Probably not the best set of heroes with the most insane shards. None of them really had like that impact that you'd want to immediately rush for it, and I think that's the biggest issue. It's just not something a lot of heroes want to spend 1,400 gold on. Like, you definitely have the gold. The issue is not having that amount of gold by 20 minutes. The issue is, do I want to spend it on that sub-skill or upgrade over an item? And in that game, Storm wouldn't really want to get Electric Rave, although it is nice on paper. It was much more impactful for Abed to save for his full Bloodstone, for his Ags upgrade instead. Those were a lot bigger steps, and it's just an awkward spot. I think a lot of teams are trying to avoid going into that unknown quantity. You might see it in the late game. It's very safe to pick up at the late game when you're already slotted up, but early on, I don't think a lot of teams are willing to experiment just yet. A lot of them are like sort of nice to have, but definitely not game breaking in a lot of cases. So it might be a while until teams start to experiment as to what they want to pick up on a shard very early on.
I mean, this happens every patch as well, right? Like, you see so many kind of broken potential items and broken heroes that could be there, but most teams, they'll just kind of take it easy and run what they know up until they get a bit of time to practice, which I'm sure they'll be doing over the Christmas holidays and the Christmas period. But TNC Predator, they go into the Morphling themselves now as this third pickup, so not only denying it away from Team Dog, but they do get to pick it up. That should be the Gabby hero, but it can also be played by Armel, just depending on what you prefer to run. And Team Dog now, seeing that Morphling early on, should be able to find somewhat of a counter for themselves. They won't really be able to go for the obvious kind of AA counter that we see sometimes if you haven't already picked up your support duo. I suppose you still could, because you do have the you can run the Tiny as a core, but you know they probably won't. I mean, AA, we don't really see it very often for good reason. I wouldn't mind it though. I mean, the Ice Blast is just so powerful up against the Morphling.
Yeah, it would be. I just kind of worry about it. Like Abed, Tiny, we've seen him do it before. He can still hit some good timings. I still feel like Team Dog would probably want to give him something not more active because Tiny is fairly active, but something that can scale into the late game as well. Abed tends to like that snowball effect into late a little bit more. Tiny has a drop-off point, especially with the adjustments to his spells. I think the values aren't as good as they were pre-patch, so the burst potential scaling isn't as amazing, and I think that's really something they like for Abed, like a backup core. Still, early AM pickup, this is one way to keep that Morphling in control. You will burn through the Morphling's mana fast. Like, even if his strength shifts up, if he runs out of mana, he can't get himself out of danger. So, Team Dog do have a way of handling the Morphling down the line. And this is going to be the In Your Dream Anti-Mage. We haven't seen that in a while, but this is something that IYD has played a lot of course. I do want to see how he itemizes. Are we going to see that Mask of Madness, SNY disassembly build? Are we going to see the standard Battle Fury build? We'll just have to find out what IYD does prefer in this case.
If I remember correctly from the last time we saw In Your Dream play the AM, I believe he did go for the Battle Fury rush. So that was a very good game for it, though. Like, he had a completely free lane, so he just said, screw it, I'll go for the Battle Fury. And it did work out quite nicely that way. TNC, they'll turn back around with an Elder Titan. And that will probably be the position 5 hero now for TNC Predator, as you do want Tims on that Mirana. Team Dog, though, I'm sure they'll be able to respond to this quite nicely. I do wonder what they want now, as they are still lacking 2 more cores. You know, potentially 1 core if the Tiny is going to be a core, but like you pointed out, that is kind of doubtful. So what do you want if you're Team Dog? You need a mid laner, you need an off laner. This will probably be the Ice 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 hero coming out up against the Morph.
You could opt for a Bat Rider still. Like, it's been left in the pool. If you want to pick it up, you should pick it up now, as it will be banned in the next phase. Could be nice here. Get good control over the Morphling. Still rather hard to deal with. They go with the Ember first. So it looks like they might be pocketing the Ice 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 here till the end. Abed Ember coming through. Should be a pretty nice game for it. You've got a lot of room to zip around. The control from TNC is still not the hardest in the world. So it's definitely an improvement from game 1. They've got a lot more heroes that can at least stop a TP in your face. But it's still not instantaneous. So AM can probably just blink out fine in most situations. Your Ember should be able to remnant out as well. But TNC do have ways of working that out. So it's still a fairly good Ember game. One thing that's not banned out yet that I think TNC should be looking at is that Magnus. Leaving that Magnus in with an AM Ember could be a bit risky. They should be able to figure that out and take it out before Team Dog potentially takes it for Ice. Not the most Ice Ice Ice-like hero, to be fair, but I'm sure he can perform if they wanted to. And again, you've got AM Ember. Magnus off doesn't sound too bad here.
No, it doesn't. The other thing I wanted to kind of bring up is for TNC, we talked about that Kunkka pickup, and I think there is quite a lot of value for it right now. You're fighting into an Ember, you're fighting into an AM. Obviously, with the Morphling on your side of things, having that boat run buff is going to be very, very influential and impactful this game. And they do still need a bit more tempo control, I think, as you do want to just generally run a 4 Protect 1 when you have a Morphling. And Team Dog, they actually ban out the Bat Rider, so just wanting to make sure Abed does not get demolished by a Bat Rider mid, which is very fair when you are playing the Ember, as Bat just doesn't care about your Flame Guard whatsoever. I still think you could just go back for the Kunkka right now if you're TNC.
100%. They've got room for it. Ties in with her team fight really nice. Gives them a steady piece of control with the X. Just looking at the team fight potential as well, right? Boat. You've got the Void Spirit AoE. You've got the Elder Titan on top of it. Really strong combinations. Team Dog, though, TNC do take out the Dark Seer for Ice 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 here.
Yeah.
We're not going to see that come out.
Did you see that new ability, Normal Punch? Is that like a one Punch Man reference? Yeah.
It's more of like I thought it was making fun of Tusk, because he's got Walrus Punch.
Right.
So Darkseer has Normal Punch, which kind of it's funny.
Have you watched One Punch Man, John?
I haven't actually.
Oh,
I haven't.
You are the worst. You are the worst weeb I've ever met, John.
Yeah, I haven't.
You haven't watched Attack on Titan. You haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist. You haven't watched Naruto. Wind Ranger comes out. So there you go. No Kunkka. They'd rather go for the Wind Ranger.
Gabby Wind Ranger as well. So it's the Armel morph
But let's go back to the main topic, John. Why have you not watched One Punch Man?
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess if you look at my anime list, it's definitely much more slice of life. I am that kind of person. I like it cozy. Those are action packed, Mike. I only watch like a couple of fast paced anime. I think the last one I watched was.
Do you remember the fact
Kill la
that
Kill, maybe?
you did recommend I watch that Violet Evergarden?
Yes.
That doesn't
Yes,
seem very
yes.
very fast action paced, John.
No, it's not. Nope.
For
nope,
anyone that
nope.
hasn't watched Violet Evergarden, I did, unfortunately. And what it's
It's
about
good.
is it is good, but it's about some girl writing letters to people. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah, it's nice.
that's the kind of weeb John is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, yes,
He-
thank you.
he likes-
We would taste, thank you.
Oh, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting
Oh.
stuff here from John X Fire. I apologize about his behavior.
Still, we've got this draft closed up. Wind Ranger for Gabby, so it's a bit of a shakeup here. That is a bit of control, you know. It is a piece of control coming out for TNC with a Shackles. Team Dog do go back into the Viper, surprisingly. So, they're the ones to pull it out now. We'll see if Ice can make a bit of better use of that compared to what we saw from KP in game 1. Of course, he did have a very hard lane. In this case, you're still having the Viper versus Morphling lane, so it could still be equally hard if you don't get that early foothold. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what Team Dog does pull out. But a rather interesting game 2 set of drafts here. Not too dissimilar in terms of that. You've got Viper Morphling, but everything else is very different. And I am keen to see what Gabby does with the Wind Ranger. Like the last time we saw a safe lane Wind Ranger from Abed, he's like they brought it out, the Wind Ranger. It looks like he was anticipating it. It's like, they brought it out. You brought it out. Oh, Gabby also inviting to go down to Okada. What's up with everyone wanting to go to Okada? And Avid's like, yeah, let's go. All right.
They probably shouldn't, John. I mean, there's a pandemic going on. Everyone calm down.
Tim's is like, are we really going? And Avid's like, yeah. All right.
All right. Can we come?
We got to ask Cuckoo for that. He's her card.
Like, Cuckoo was lying, John. Bot lane, they do get a nice toss back onto the Wind Ranger Gabby. This is not the start he wanted. Abed will take the kill in very, very slow motion. Just, you know, imitating one of his favorite movies. He was in The Matrix for a second there, John. Don't mind him. Abed will be fine. Gets himself first blood gold, and if I've learned anything from my SCA pubs, John, when you do feed the enemy mid first blood, your mid laner will never forget it. He will remind you for the whole game that he lost his mid lane because you fed first blood over.
I'm sure Armal's going to be doing the reminding duty here. Still, the runes do end up going. Looks like it will end up being a 3-for-1 here for Dog as they've got one rune left. TNC not going to be happy with that start. And I just find it really ironic that's from Gabby saying all that stuff about Okada. They get the kill as well. So, I guess,
There's your Okada, Gabby.
yeah.
Enjoy.
And still, got to see how these lanes unfold. Up top, you've got In Your Dream on his AM with Paulson on the Enchantress once more. Tri-lane broken up here by TNC. We'll have KP on the off-lane Void Spirit that he's fond of, along with Tim's on his signature Mirana. So, stronger comfort here is here for TNC. Much more presence against this AM. Like AM level 1 to even level 3 is kind of weak. They've got a lot of zoning you can get done, and you've also got this Mirana into Ench. So the enchant build up for Paulson, if you want to go for creeps, Tim's has a way of clearing out those creeps every single time. So it's a bit risky for him to play aggressive with the jungle creeps here.
Oh, it's hellish playing up against the Mirana when you're Enchantress. Let me tell you, John, it is not fun. And you know, Tim's he's a man that doesn't miss arrows. So Paulson has to tank the arrow. He's going to go for some mana drain on Tim's. You do drain 100 mana per attempt with that creep, but Tim's won't mind too much. He'll rotate over to the mid lane where we do see Abed up against Armel. Armel already having to strength morph quite a bit as Abed has been very aggressive. And Tim's, he won't quite come for the rotation yet into the mid lane as Abed probably will expect it, and he does have a nice Observer Ward watching his back just in case Tim's does come for an arrow. Which leads us to our last lane, John, the bot lane. You'll see Febby there, along with Gabby on the Wind Ranger. Of course, Arfu is there on the Tiny once again, and you do have Ice this time around on the Viper. And it's a very kind of annoying lane for TNC to be up against. So that Viper lane is never very fun.
No, it isn't. But you are sort of ready here for Gabby. Does have the level 1 wind run. So in case the Poison Touch was leveled up, Poison Attack was leveled up, he can just kind of evade a lot of it. This is not the most comfy lane for Ice, but he is just finding steady farm. We'll need to find a way to contest Gabby. So far, Fevy's been doing a fantastic job with his Elder Titan, getting the spirits out, getting some right-click trades out. Afu is fairly squishy with 0 armor, so if you do get a lot of added damage on Fevy, Afu's not going to be comfy. Even Ice 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 was kind of chipped away just a bit, so you got to respect that early spike here. But so far, the lanes beyond that first blood has been relatively even. Slight lead coming out here for Team Dog, and you do see In Your Dream maybe having a better time in his safe lane than Gabby is. Just a bit easier to last it on that AM in his own time, and that off lane he's facing against.
Oh, lane Mel playing with fire. Arbet gonna have a go at him, but it's not really gonna lead to too much, I think. They're just trading harass. Down to the bot lane. Febby is dropping very low, but Gabby able to pick up the kill onto Arfu before they get the kill onto Febby. And now Gabby wants to have a chase onto Ice. Ice should just drop here as Gabby does have a power shot coming up, and he will be able to get it. Nice juke attempt out, but Gabby definitely had that kill in the bag, and he's going to be very happy about that on the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, it's a big boon for the Wind Ranger. Getting that 2 sets of kills is going to give you a lot of gold to ramp up. You can see Gabby already queuing up the MKB. So he's just going to try to rush into that Javelin first, get his damage spike going, and he's going to be very comfy in this lane. Team Dog have to watch out for how far they extend out. Again, Ice does not have the best presence here, mainly because Gabby can evade a lot of the poison attack harassment. So your Viper's really just focused on clearing out waves with Nether Toxin. Your presence here for Afu as well, it's not the best. Febby's positioning has just been really good in canceling that off. You have to scuffle over these runes.
Oh, Tim's, he's been caught out. Nice control out from Polison and Arbet. They do get themselves another kill going. So Armel going to be very upset about this, John. Arbet being not necessarily finding another kill, but he gets an assist gold, so he's going to be pretty happy. Armel is he's 0-0-0 right now. He's not too happy with seeing his teammates die around December. They are going to run at each other once again, but the waveform does not do anything as Arbet, very quick fingers there with the Flame Guard, is going to be able to block out a lot of that damage. And all the lanes are pretty quiet right now. Like, there's not too much going on. I suppose if you are TNC, though, you're probably happy with quiet. You've got a Morphling, you've got a Wind Ranger. You just want to try and secure some farm before you do get active.
Yeah, that's really just the name of the game right now. You're finding steady build-up in Gabby. You're still up there with Armel. You have kept Abed behind in terms of last hits. So you are kind of just winning out overall. I'd say TNC is pretty set with this. As long as they maintain this kind of pacing and don't allow Team Dog to find their aggressive start, then you're pretty happy overall.
Oh, Febby. Not a happy duck. Febby will go down, and there's a bit of poisoning there in the pond there for Febby, John. He swallowed the wrong kind of fish, and Ice takes him out. Of course, in the mid lane, Arfu going to make a nice rotation into Armel. Are you able to get anything out of this? No, the Strength Morph is going to be there in time. Had he immediately gotten the Avalanche Toss, he might have been able to get that kill on his own, but he doesn't bother trying, and Armel is going to survive another day. I suppose on the bright side, they do force Febby to rotate on the Elder Titan.
Yeah, he does get the bottle refill up, though, for Armel, so overall, Armel still gets a little something. Gets to maintain his presence here a bit. Does have level 6 up on the Morphling as well, but he is opting for just, his laning spells more instead of the Morph. So don't have anything major to worry about just yet for Abed. Well, Abed, once he hits his level 6, should be able to maybe look for an opportunity. Again, a slower start for both teams. Kill lead still on the side of Dog. They are applying pressure around the map. You've got Tim just scouting out these stacks as well. You can't really clear off them out, so slowly chip away with the arrow and just try to find something for themselves as they clump down mid.
Yeah, Armel's getting a lot of damage out of that tier 1 mid tower with this DD rune active, and of course the siege creep there as well. Arbet trying to take down the creep wave. Armel not going to take too much damage here from Arbet. He's just going to back off to safety, but they got so much damage on that tier 1 that you are very, very happy about that if you're TNC. Of course, it just kind of goes back to how lucky you get with these power runes. And of course, Armel did end up getting quite lucky with the DD.
Yeah, it's just the just the way the game swings sometimes. Sometimes favor doesn't shine on you, so they make the most of that little boon. We are reaching like the 7-minute mark. No other major movements across the map in terms of lane shifting out. Just both safely in course, finding that steady farm. Team Dog does have the slower core in the AM, so you're going to have to wait for the Battle Fury timing to spike in, and then your AM starts farming up. Maybe once you see the Manta style, he shows up a bit more. It's a bit of a doubt on that one, as IYD does tend to enjoy farming and split pushing. Oh,
Gabby does get the wind run off in time. You saw the Viper Strike animation was coming out from Ice. Doesn't come out in the end. The wind run was there. Gabby with the max wind run is very, very defensive on this Wind Ranger, but again, as a POS 1, you are just trying to farm up. Defensive is sometimes the best kind of offense to have if you are Gabby. We'll survive another day. Meanwhile, Arbed pulling a creep wave over to the neutral camp, so being very efficient here on this Ember. He is quite, well, not quite behind Armel. He's about 100 gold off in terms of net worth, so you do like to see those little efficiency plays coming out from Arbed to try and catch up. He did try to go for the power rune, but it was picked up by Tims. It was, of course, a haste rune being picked up. However, mid lane, not going to land on Arfu. He's going to be okay.
just again, both teams kind of trying to pressure each other out in their key lanes, not finding anything big. You do see Paulson kind of contesting these stacks, just taking away the big creep every single time, so you're not getting as much value here. You have some nice leveled spikes up for TNC KP. He's got his Urn, he's got level 6 up on this Void Spirit, so he can maybe start looking around if he wanted to. Hasn't been able to slow down In Your Dream in a significant way, so your AM still finding pretty much himself at the top of last hits, the top of net worth right now. Steady build up into the Battle Fury, and just a steady start for both teams. No side tipping the scales just yet. I do like seeing these stacks from Team Dog. A lot of stacks built up. They are aware on TNC side. They just haven't been able to go up and contest. Still been steady on that mid-tier 1, but while that mid-tier 1 stands, they can't get those jungle rotations that they would like to do here.
Absolutely not. Fu is rotating into the mid lane, but is going to have to D-ward first. Febby, of course, will be aware with Armel there that there is a tiny around. I'll be a little bit cautious. One toss back on the Elder Titan will probably mean imminent death. Arbet does get a little bit low there, farming the jungle, but he does have a remnant back, so he's just going to go for a quick reset. Mid lane, Ice, he'll just casually drop the Viper Strike onto Armel, just making him feel very uncomfortable on this Morphling. And 10-minute power rune, going to be up at the top lane this time, so Arbet does finally get lucky with one, and puts that in the bottle. However, mid lane, Shackle out from Gabby. He's going to kill off Ice. Tim's the one to take the kill there on the Viper. Still Arbet going to come back in now onto Armel. More TPs coming as In Your Dream does join in. Armel is very low on mana. In fact, he has none. And the mana void will come out from In Your Dream. Paulson the one to take that kill is now Arbet. He wants more. He'll go after KB on the Void Spirit. And they will find another kill. A very nice stomp out from Febby. It just doesn't mean anything, though. He's already lost 2 heroes.
And those are 2 very big heroes to lose. You might have saved Gabby's Wind Ranger, but losing your Morph hurts a ton. It's not like Armel's had the freest start, although he was up there in terms of farm. Dropping that Morphling does give so much more to In Your Dream. Really timely rotation out. That is what you like to see on an AM, just kind of being aggressive faster. Contesting these stacks now as well from TNC. So Team Dog cleared out their own stacks. They're finding the stacks here on the Radiant jungle. And that's taking a lot of farm away from TNC. They've got to take better control of that jungle if they want to actually play with these stacks they've built up.
Oh, it's very illegal stuff going on here from Team Dog. It's taking everything away from TNC. Up at the top lane, there is going to be a nice group up from TNC, and they're going to see if they can go for a cheeky smoke kill. Up towards the north, who are they going to run into? But Ice on the Viper. Ice actually going to go onto KP, but KP is just trying to bait him forward, or maybe he might just drop if he's not careful. KP is going to die. Gabby is going to eventually find the kill onto Ice. Ice still trying to run, but Gabby is going to be able to get the kill. But you did lose KP for the Viper, so it's kind of even. In fact, one would argue that Team Dog still found the better trade, because they force out the rotation.
Yeah, They got a little bit more space out. They managed to get the deny on the mid-tier 1 because of that space as well on Armel.
Yeah, they know all of them are up top lane, so Armel is by himself right now, but looks like Abed, he just wanted that Arcane Rune bottled up for himself. He was never really going to try and attempt the kill onto Armel, as he doesn't really have the Spirit Vessel up yet. Speaking of that vessel, though, it is coming up very, very soon. And that is going to be a bit of a cause of concern for TNC.
Yeah, it's going to be major for Abed once he has that. You want to see him active with it, though. They are going up for the defense up top as well.
Gabby's in big, big trouble. He's been broken by that Nether Toxin, and he is just ticking out to the poison. Ice able to pick up another kill on this Viper, and Abed looks like he wasn't quite done, but he's out of there. Rest of TNC grouping up now at the top lane, and looks like they're going to try and set up for this tier 1 top tower. It's just so hard when you're up against the Viper, though. Just spam Nether Toxin, destroy a creep wave, hide in the tree line, and rinse and repeat if you are Ice.
Yeah, good denies from Armel, though. They get all 3 creeps, but Ice is doing what he wants. Forcing 4 heroes up top to deal with him, mere Viper, and to deal with his tier 1. It's slow going. They will eventually find it, but that's a ton of time invested to get that done. And Ice is pretty much happy with that. They're farming that bot jungle still. They're applying pressure on the tier 2 ever so slightly, and they might find a pickup on Gabby if he's not careful. It looks like they will just slowly chip away at the Radiant tier 1 themselves.
Well, they wouldn't mind a Gabby kill right now, Johnny's getting very close to the MKB with a great shackles out. Not going to lead to much, just a bit of a flex shackle there from Gabby. Just kind of letting them know that he is ready whenever. KP going to go for a jump in onto Paulson. Aether Remnant going to lock on. Avalanche is there, but Paulson is going to die. A nice quick pick up there from TNC. Shackles out onto Abed. Are not going to latch on. In fact, Gabby now going to be in danger. Abed just turns back around and takes down the Wind Ranger. And again, it's just a very kind of bad trade here for TNC, is that still just trying to find their footing in this game number 2. Aether Remnant. Arrow, not going to land onto Arfu. In fact, nothing does land apart from that Aether Remnant. Team Dog should be pretty satisfied with that, finding another kill onto the Wind Ranger. And I mean, you look at In Your Dream, Johnny, he's having the freest time of his life. With that Battle Fury up, he is set to start overtaking Mel on the Morph.
Yeah, this is a really fast Battle Fury timing as well. Around 14.5, maybe slightly earlier than that, with the brown boots and with the power treads actually, and 1 Wraith Band. So really good timing for In Your Dream. Armel's still slightly ahead, but that's not going to stand for too long. Gabby just fallen so far behind the note.
Uh-oh.
Tim's
chained up. Abed perfect with that chain. Tim's still trying to run, but he's out of leap charges. Abed will probably just try and finish him off, and does. A nice arrow out before he does die, but now KP's in danger. He has no steps left. He's trying to run with the Moonlight Shadow, but that is not going to be enough. Team Dog just completely dominating TNC already in this game number 2. A 2k net worth lead out now for this dire side. And last game, John, we talked about the game being on Gabby's shoulders. This game around, it might just be on Armel's.
Oh, for sure. He's the Morphling. He's the one that can scale. Your issue now is you're trying to scale a Morphling against an AML. So they do catch.
It's a great setup there from Gabby. Into the stomp, into the chains. Abed is actually pretty darn tanky, but he does finally go down. And that'll actually give enough gold to get the MKB, but now Ice actually going back in. Drops the GG tree. That was actually Gabby's GG tree being dropped. Not a very worthwhile trade there for Team Dog. Bit overly excited, I think, going after that Elder Titan. It is just a position 5 after all.
Yeah, no, good punishment coming out from TNC this time, knowing that they're strong while they're together as long as they find single targets. So they're making use of the single target control well, and this is when Dog has to be a bit careful.
Catching out Paulson on that Enchantress. Paulson is still going to be okay. Arrow, not even going to land on the Centaur. So Paulson able to walk out scot-free. Looks like Abed's going to come in for a quick bottle recharge onto Paulson. And everything kind of goes back to just being calm and quiet. As you still got these position 1s that just want to farm. But if you're TNC, I mean, it is very scary going into the anti-mage, into the late game, even with your Morphling.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit difficult, especially since you also have to consider how Abed wants to build into that late game so far. He's going for the Blade Mail on the Ember first, and you're seeing the same thing come out for Ice Ice Ice. But that just allows them to have a little bit of that mid-game tempo, bounce back the damage, makes it a hard game for Gabby, right? He just wants to focus fire, finds kills, but when two of the big cores have Blade Mails, well, it becomes harder to throw the focus fire on those key heroes. So Gabby's going to have to watch for that item timing flying out here for the two cores in Team Dog's side, and really be aware of when to use that focus fire. Still, TNC not feeling too bad. They're not too far behind. It's consistent 2K, but Ice.
Shackle is nice. He came out of the invis there, going onto the Viper, and they do blow him up. Mel does make a quick rotation in to make sure they secure the kill. And in classic TNC Morphling fashion, they are rushing the Aghanim Scepter. And I forgot about that, John. Wind Ranger plus Morphling is kind of disgusting. However, mid lane, Paulison is also going to get caught out. TNC finding two very important kills for themselves across the map. But John, Wind Ranger Morphling.
Yeah, no, I'm actually more worried for Morphling Elder Titan. I think that's just so busted.
Right.
When you have the Ags, free BKB for Armel, free damage for Armel as well. So, hey, best of both worlds for the Morphling. And the escape potential, of course, with Wind Ranger is insane. You get the Ags upgrade Wind Run, 2 charges up. So, it's pretty ridiculous. Pretty good timings to hit. The issue for Team Dog going down the line is MKBs. You don't really enjoy that in the AM, although it's perfectly fine to build up, but it's not something you enjoy.
Mid lane, Avalanche Toss going to be there, and the chains out. However, he does have the Yules, but in your dream, attacks a bit too fast. He tells him he is very disappointed about, well, his death, I suppose, is in your dream. Going to smoke up towards the top lane now with the rest of the team. Tims and Febby going to be around there, and Febby might just be the unfortunate victim here. In your dream does have his smoke broken, but it looks like they didn't actually scout out Febby. Just leave him be, as the rest of Team Dog have rotated down towards the bot. They have found Armel. That's a massive target at Armel. He was unable to get the strength morph off in time. Arfu just way too quick on the fingers. That's the biggest kill you could have asked for if you were Team Dog. In fact, they may have found more Gabby.
Oh, the Blade Mail!
And the Blade Mail out from Arbed, just making him kill himself. Now Ice Ice Ice, Viper Strike's going to be there onto Tims. Chains out again from Arbed, and they're going to find another Febby. Going to go down. 4 heroes suddenly gone on the side of TNC, and Team Dog, they just continue to dominate this series.
Oh, they're looking fantastic now. 6K lead at the 20-minute mark. Just going to do a quick check if anyone's actually going for shards. No one, sadly. It's another series with no shards, Mike. Still, 7K lead going up and up for Team Dog. They get control. They're finding the farm under AM. You're seeing In Your Dream pull ahead now. 3K above Armel. Gabby's having a hard time fitting in. I mean, since that MKB, no item progression yet. Saving up for the travels into the BKB. But this is not the quick, aggressive Wind Ranger that we're used to seeing. He has been trying to make space. It's just that these early Blade Mails are going to mess him up. So the only real targets you can focus fire down is either In Your Dream, if you can catch him, or the 2 supports. But the 2 supports don't necessarily even need the focus fire to go onto them. So just that bit of kit on Gabby being taken out by the Siphon pickup makes it harder to apply pressure with that Wind Ranger.
I mean, don't forget, you can pause the focus fire now with that recent change they made, but it can kind of catch you off guard if you weren't aware that the Blade Mail was there on Arbed. That time around, of course, he wasn't, but hopefully in future, he won't fall for it again. It's like TNC, they're going to make the rotation up towards the Dire jungle. Well, even though the patch has come through, the map hasn't changed, so you still play it the exact same way, at least for now. That means they will occupy the enemy jungle. As the side of Team Dog, they've smoked up into the chains, onto KB. Arrow not going to connect, and Arfu actually mistimes the Avalanche, but Arbed is going to keep up the chase, is waiting on the chains up. Meanwhile, Armel now going to morph into the Ember. Chains is up Arbed. Blade Mail popped, however, Armel getting very low is going to be able to waveform away. Nobody dies quite yet. Ice on the chase, however, Gabby trying to get a shackles off. Yeah, the counter spell was there from In Your Dream. That's another thing you have to be careful of as the Wind Ranger. that Shackles does take a bit of time to get to the hero model. So you do have plenty of time to get the counterspell off.
Yeah, that's a pretty big kill for Team Dog. They're keeping Gabby down. They're getting space out for themselves. They managed to force a lot of movement out as well. And you can see how vulnerable Armel is. Like, he's got this mantle to save him. But with the Spirit Vessel up, with all the damage in the world coming out from Team Dog, if you are isolated as a Morphling, it's very easy to fall. They find that tier 1 top. They don't have a creep wave to go for the tier 2. So they're just going to have to let it go. But the map is shrinking here for TNC. It's getting hard for them to just build up. And they need a lot more build up on their Morphling, on their Wind Ranger, even KP. He needs his Ags pronto. But he's still about 3k off. So you're not going to find that AoE silence anytime soon here.
No, you aren't. He's trying to desperately find the farm as well. Like, he's up at that top lane, just kind of skipping the creep wave, making it as hard as possible for the top tier 2 tower to go down. It's going to be spotted out, though. In Your Dream does get in. Wants to drain the mana of KP. KP, 10 seconds off. Astral Step Charge is being available, but he still has mana to play with. He'll just assimilate and try for the TP. And In Your Dream, where's the micro, sir? He blocked himself in with his own illusion. We'll miss out on the kill onto KP. Not really getting range to get the mana void off. Needed a bit more vision than that.
Bit of a shame. Sometimes happens with illusion spam. Still saw some aggression coming out here from Team Dog on bot, trying to find the supports. Bit too slippery. Couldn't get lucky with the chains as well, being so close to the camp. They have stalled out long enough in TNC to have the Yags, and we'll see what Armel Opsar is on the Wind Ranger. So Wind Ranger charges up. He is going to be hard to stop.
This is basically Hoodwink, John. You've got 2 Wind Rangers now. So you've effectively brought the new hero into the game now. Look at Armor. Look at him run around the map at just lightning speed. And those Wind Run charges just charged back up way too quick, by the way. In case Ice Frog's listening. Need a bit of a nerf there, thank you, sir. Bot lane, they have caught out In Your Dream with the Aether Remnant, but they can't take him out. Meanwhile, nothing else is going on. TNC, they just want to back off. Armel even has the whip on him, so he can increase his movement speed even more, just by himself. Just whip yourself. Whip yourself into shape.
Yeah, just whip it. You know,
it's real good.
Still, we might get copy strike. Still, we haven't seen Armel just make use of it. Yeah, I mean, he's clearing out camps. He's getting some farm. I don't think he really just wants to farm with the Ags though. Should be looking for that opportunity. Team Dog should be aware. He finds a courier, so there you go. It's 65 gold for everyone. You would still need a little bit more. They are going to go for the tier 1 bot. Finally clearing out this dead lane. This might give an opportunity for the side of Team Dog. Looks like they're just going to start in that Roche.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great trade for them. You take out the tier 1 tower in the dead lane, and we take a Roshan, which is not going to be dead quite yet, but it will be very, very soon. And In Your Dream, ask them a very relevant question. As the Santa hat does go flying across the map, poor Roshan was just trying to have a good time with family and friends, and some hoodlums came around and just beat him up.
Yep. Rather unfortunate for him. Holiday cheer and all of that. Still, not unfortunate for Team Dog. Maintaining that 11k lead. They've got all the farm in the world starting to flow in now. In Your Dream still maintains his lead. He's 5k above Armel, so he's having a good time building up. He's got his Scotty up. There's a lot for Armel to worry about. The Scotty's there to reduce his healing. The Spirit Vessel, it's been around for a long time, so there's just no room for you to play on edge as this morph.
Yeah, you can run around real quick though, John. That's a big positive, isn't it?
Sure. As fast as the flowing water. So
this is literally how tsunamis start, is it not? Just too much wind into water, and I'm sure there's some kind of, there's something with tectonic plates underneath the ocean, blah, blah. Who cares about that? It's a tsunami, John.
No. That it is. Trying to pressure those tier 2s now with the tsunami coming through from Armel, but they are going to trade away their own.
We've gone over the pronunciation of tsunami before, Jonathan.
I forget. I'm a dropout, okay? Give me a break.
Smoke up here from TNC. TNC still trying to go after that tier 2 bottom. They are going to be able to get it, or maybe not. They'll be forced to back off as they saw in your dream coming in. A quick Moonlight Shadow out, but Fu is in the backside. Gabby does not land the shackles and forced up. Another shackles comes out. That one will land, and they've got both supports. However, you look at Armel, he's dropping very, very low, trying to run away with the Spirit Vessel, and Arbed just chasing him down. In your dream does get the Mana Void off. They'll get another kill for themselves into KP, who's trying to dissimulate himself out of the situation. He's in trouble. He'll try to TP, but the run of Atos is going to be up from Ice. And that's a 13k net worth lead now for Team Dog. It looked like a great start for them with the shackles out from Armel, but it just didn't prove to be enough.
No, it was just on the supports, and that's just not the key targets. I mean, yeah, it's nice to take out the Tiny, but you give so much free reign for In Your Dream to jump in. You've got Ice, who is very hard to kill now with a casual plate meal sitting on him. And, of course, Abed is just very slippery with his BKB as well in the Ember. So a lot just slides through here from the side of TNC. At the least, they don't lose Gabby on top of it, but you still lost 2 cores over Paulson.
He's going to find Paulson, but it's not worth it if he costs his own life. Toss back on Paulson, so he just gets sacrificed to Gabby, but it won't matter because Gabby is set to fall, and he will. And it's a tough game for a Wind Ranger. Like, it's never going to be worth killing off the Pos 5 Enchantress like that for your own life. But if you're Gabby, you've just got to make as much space as possible. And they really need the space, John. I mean, there's an 8k difference between position 1s right now.
Yeah, it's the aim effect. You know, In Your Dream's been giving so much more space to farm up. Armel's been forced to be really active. He went for the Ags build-up as well, which means that he really wanted to be active. So just not finding the opening state he'd want to, and to really punish Team Dog. And Team Dog, for their part, they can just keep playing this way. It's basically the same thing they did in Game 1. They're starting to chip away at the last Tier 2 tower, and it's just going to fall. They can't defend it, so the map is starting to get a bit naked here for the side of TNC. Limited access points outside of base. That does make it a lot harder to contest certain objectives like the next Roshan, which is still set to reset in 4 minutes, but it's going to be harder to make big waves outside of your high ground now.
KP might be in a spot of trouble. Moonlight Shadow is going to be there protecting him for now, and he'll just try to step away. And your dream spotted that out, wants to keep going for the chase, and that Moonlight Shadow has not got that much time left, but it's like KP is going to be safe in the tree line. Towards the bot lane, Tim's Chains is going to be there from Arbed. He will Guardian Greaves to try and just purge it off and run away, but Paulson is going to keep up the vision. Arbed, he doesn't have any remnants left, so this might be a bit of a harder kill as the arrow even does land, and Tim's will take the banner for himself, and Arbed says, you know what, I can respect that. I'm still taking your life away, but I can respect the play.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall sort of okay for Tim, since he did get at least a bounty ring, but sacrificing your life, that is still a fairly big kill going the way of Abed, like 400 gold swing out. So it's a good pickup for the side of Team Dog. They have stalled out long enough in TNC that the Aegis expires on In Your Dream, but you also have the Abyssal up on In Your Dream as well. So IYD's making the most of his space. We're going to see when the Roche resets how long the respawn timer is. That could be what Team Dog waits for.
Oh, down towards the south. KP just going to get bursted down. They do at least kill off Paulson. Abed trying to see if he can find a chains on somebody, but he's not going to be able to. You know what I realized, by the way, John? This new tier 3 item, this ceremonial robe, it actually shows the effect, the debuff on your enemies. So if someone's hiding the tree line, and if you're hiding in the trees and you've got this ceremonial robe on and there's an enemy nearby, they know you're there because they can see the debuff.
Yeah, you'd reckon a toggle would come out at some point, hopefully.
Come on now, John. Don't expect too much.
It was one of those things. Yeah, it was one of the things with like the Drow aura before as well, right? Like you could kind of tell if a Drow was sneaking around you. So takes out that element. Still, they're trying to be sneaky, TNC.
Well, they might find Paulson here, but that's not what they want. It looks like they're just going to have to just take it. Whatever you can get, just take it and run. Fu, he wants something of his own, but he's not going to be able to catch anyone out. Everyone from TNC is going to be safe. I say that, Gabby. Oh, In Your Dream did not see him. He does see Armel, however, and an Abyssal Blade is going to be out. Armel already out of mana, and he is kind of just stuck to try and juke this one out. And yeah, In Your Dream, he is disappointed indeed. On the bright side, Armel does have his BKB up.
Yeah, he gets the zip in and out a little bit better there with the BKB, but that's also the one awkward thing with AM Morphling. Like, once you drain the mana, sure, he can't do anything, but you also, your damage output grows so much less on the AM.
Jackals, Arbed, Cord, Arrow is nice as well, but can they have the damage out in time? Arbed, yeah, they do. They get him down, but now In Your Dream comes in onto Gabby. The Yules are going to be out. In Your Dream still not getting anyone yet, but he'll go after KP, and poor old KP is just going to die so darn quick to this anti-mage. In fact, he's going for more now. Rod of Atos out from Ice. Avalanche Toss is there from Arfu. They wanted to Fountain Dive him, but they're not going to quite yet. They're going to hold out on that kind of movement. Arrow. Oh, very nice arrow out. Is going to land onto Ice, but it's not going to matter. Ice. He's going to be tossed away by Arfu and will survive. And with that, they are, in fact, In Your Dream. Forget the tower. He goes after Tims now. Tims is bashed up. He has no way out, and he is just set to die. He'll bite back. But is it going to mean anything? Gabby trying to go onto another target. He caught Arfu, but now In Your Dream jumps back in. Mana Void going to clear out the creep wave as well. That's some efficiency from In Your Dream if I've ever seen it.
He's going to be very pleased with those kills. So they sacrifice Hobbit to find a lot of kills on the high ground. TNC not going to be very chuffed about that. The next rush is a bit longer, so that means Team Dog are still probably just going to play this tag game until the next rush is available. Going to be a while. You're still having this massive lead of 17k up. You might want maybe an additional item out in Abed. Looks like he is saving up for the Ags first on his Ember. Once you do have that, you're going to be able to really zip in and out a lot more. The mobility kicks up a ton. You've got the defensive item out In Your Dream now in the form of that Lincoln, so it's going to be harder to lock him down, and they smoke up with that pickup.
That they do. We go again. In Your Dream, going to go towards the west. KB going to run right past. Oh, maybe not. In Your Dream does make the jump in. Arfu. The Avalanche Toss is going to be able to get the kill, and now Arbed going back in. After the Auto Titan, Arrow is going to fly through and does stun up Arbed, but it won't matter. They get the kill anyway thanks to Polison with the impetus shot. They are looking to try and make a play onto this tier 3 mid tower. Looks like they're probably going to get away with this as well. Jackal not going to land. They'll just let the racks go down. They don't really have much of a choice here.
Yeah, they don't have a defense. Not without KP and Febby. They're going to need that Elder Titan to help them out. And they're just going to have to watch. One set of racks down. Looks like Team Dog will play it safe. Not force anything else out, and just clear out the triangle. Set themselves up for the next Roche, getting some D-wards out. So Roche is almost there. Half a minute off. And once Team Dog has that, it becomes so much easier to siege a high ground. TNC, and if they want to force this into a game 3, have to find an angle here. They've been constantly behind. They do Moonlight out. Maybe catch someone out here.
Perhaps they will. Find out very, very soon as they do try to go in. KP, there with Armel. They found out Ice. He does pop the Blade Mail, but it is not going to matter. TNC, they get something. Into the Wind Ranger form. Polison going to be spotted out. Chains is there from Arbed. Arrow does also land from Tims. Going to be a secondary kill out for TNC now. Not too bad of a start of this team fight. Can they go for more? It looks like they're not really too interested. They're going to just wait it out, get back to D, push in their own base. See what they can get done later on. Or they could try to rush the Roshan pit. Which it looks like they are going to give a crack.
They might be baiting Team Dog in. Oh,
Oh, they have. Abed, Aether Remnant going to catch him out. No, the BKB's there in time, and Gabby is dropping low once again. He BKBs himself up, and now Armel jumping in. Arfu getting low. In Your Dream actually going down to Tim's on the Mirana, and now maybe they clean up. Abed trying to Remnant back and forward. He does find 2 for his trouble, but how do you get yourself out of this? He has no Remnants left. Arfu going to jump in, but the stop is there from Febby. Arrow connecting again from Tim's. He threads the needle. Armel, well, Febby's going to go down, but they're going to go after Arfu now. The Aether Remnant is there. Armel should have enough damage output. Arfu somehow still alive, but should go down, and eventually does a double kill out for Armel. I'm not sure how they found it, but they found themselves a great team fight and I suppose a great bait play out from TNC.
boy, that's going to be massive. They get to at least get some work done onto the Roche. No buybacks in any of those heroes from the side of Team Dog, so this objective is set to go. Aegis and Cheese for the side of TNC could be a big bump up if they are allowed to. They are keeping eyes on, but it's risky.
Armel thought about going in, but decides better of it. Roshan still dropping low, but they're trying to get some vision on it. See if they can go for a steal. Looks like eventually they do just back off, thinking better of it. And suddenly, TNC have found a way back into this game.
Yeah, they are building up an Armel. He's at 20k net worth, so he's actually not doing too bad. The BKB is paying off for him as well in that Morphling. Just that second defensive tool messing up the burst potential here on the side of Team Dog. So they've got to be a bit more cautious. They've stalled out long enough that the tier 4 items are flying out as well. They've got better control on the map. They've got time to clear that out and find something good for themselves. So it's going to give them a bit of a boon here. Team Dog, for their part, I think they need maybe a defensive item out on In Your Dream. You see him queuing up the BKB. So once you have that, it corrects a lot of issues our AIM's been having. Issue is he is pretty much 6 slotted now. Does buy the shards, by the way. So In Your Dream has his Agnum shard with a counter spell. We'll just have to see if he can proc it every single time. But it finally comes out, at least in the Pro Series Season 4 in Southeast Asia. So there it is.
Successful counterspell creates an illusion attacking the caster. I don't want to be attacked, John.
That's Ice has this as well. So he's got the minus armor on poison attack, which is fairly nice for a change in utility in the Viper. And Armel's experiencing a bit of lag.
Aren't we all?
Of course, as you get from the patch.
Classic patch experience.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Get back into it. TNC. So what the game plan is, Armel, he's going to buy out the butterfly now, so definitely getting very, very strong on this morph. We haven't actually seen much of the Older Titan morph going on. It's mostly just been the Wind Ranger.
Yeah. I suppose, he bought his own BKB, so doesn't need to rely on that combination.
True. Dream having a look around, and he is going to find himself at Tim's, but Tim's has leap charges, and he's going to be able to leap away. Unfortunately for him, Arbed was just around the corner. He is going to go down. The Team Dog, I mean, even with that those last team fight that didn't really work out their way, they still just appear very, very strong. It's still a 19k net worth lead. They're nowhere near out of this game. It just seems as though they're paying a bit more respect to the lineup of TNC.
Yeah, they understand that TNC has certain angles back into it. They're not fully in the lead or not fully set to win. There's always an opening. The TNC can set to abuse. They're the kind of team that will find that opening as well. Just being cautious. Again, you've got this clear shot into the grand finals. Team Dog does not want to give any opportunity towards TNC to get that done. They've got this net worth lead that is very hard to overcome with one lane already taken out as well. You just take it slow into the high ground.
Absolutely, and in they go. Tier 3 tower going to be under siege. However, towards the north, it looks like Armel has been caught out. Armel, he does wait for, but Arbet does have the chase. He has an Aegis, however. That's one life gone. He'll come back up. Maybe they make a chase onto Arfu. Maybe they won't. Shackles are going to fly out, but it's not going to be quite enough. Back in they go. Shackles going to be kind of returned back the way of Armel, but doesn't latch onto anything anyway. They can't really afford to lose the next team fight here, TNC. But luckily for them, it looks like Team Dog, they're going to wait for another moment. They're not in really too much of a rush here. Looks like they have a lot of faith in their lineup to kind of just be able to outscale TNC. I mean, they definitely have already done so, but I suppose when you are so close to getting a BKB up in your dream, you may as well just go pick that up first.
Yeah, just patience here for Team Dog. No rush, knowing that the advantage is still on their end. You can see how much it takes for TNC to counteract that push. They do smoke up though, so they might just want to catch Team Dog with their pants down. We'll see if they'll find that opening. No offensive wards here from TNC, so this is a bit of a blind smoke up.
It's wind run. Armel, oh, the shackle, he shackled himself. Ice is going to be there with Arbit. Going to ram it straight in. It's just so much damage, but Armel going to survive. He eats the cheese. Meanwhile, KB does kill off Ice into Polison. Polison getting quite low on the Enchantress, and Arrow does connect, but he's going to be alright for now. They'll go back in onto Armel. They really want that morph down, but he waveforms away. Back on a Polison. They do get the Enchantress down. Now in your dream in trouble. Arfu jumping back in, but a massive, massive stomp there with the Earth Splitter coming in all onto Arbed. He'll try to Blade Mail back, remnanting him back out, but it's not enough. It's very, very short kind of distance here from Arbed, and it looks like he might just die. Meanwhile, Armel, very, very low, but they aren't going to be able to take him out. In your dream now, forced to blink away, and Gabby jumps back in on the Enchantress, and Polison is going to die. Even Arfu trying to go for a bit of a sneak play onto Armel, but it is not going to work out. A 4-for-0 trade here, a massive team fight out for TNC. And perhaps Team Dog, they may have waited a bit too long.
They're having issues getting their damage out with all the invasion available, especially while Armel turns into that.
Oh, in your dream. Oh, he can't afford to die. He's been stomped. The Lincoln's broken. They've got the shackles, and they should have the damage output.
Oh, God.
Oh, that is a big disappointment out for In Your Dream. And suddenly TNC, they've lowered this net worth lead to 12k for Team Dog. And this game is looking much, much more possible for them as the game goes on.
Yeah, they've blown it wide open here. Team Dog, no buybacks. They're in a risky spot. These towers will just melt when you've got this Morphling around with a Wind Ranger. So they might potentially lose a set of racks. Heck, maybe even the tier 4s might be rushed here. Gabby just running all the way in the back, making use of Zags. But they're going to find some good set of objectives. And Team Dog, they will not have buyback even after the respawns. So they're in a very risky spot here as TNC manages to find a foothold once more.
Well, they've got a buyback on In Your Dream, but they haven't decided to commit it quite yet. And that's going to be 2 lanes of racks going down. They're going to hold on to that buyback gold. TNC, they're going to take full advantage of it, though. Meanwhile, Arbed, he buys out a Scythe of Vice now. I believe it is on the courier, and it is coming out. KB going to be Rod of Atos stuff. Meanwhile, Armel going to be in danger. There's your Scythe of Vice. They even got the shackles off onto her. Is it going to be enough though, Armel? He does go down, and now Arbed rushing for more on the high ground. Does spot out too. They might just have to settle for Febby though. Febby going to be the one in danger. He'll go for the stomp, but the bash is going to come in. Meanwhile, Tims is able to TP out. Looks like everyone else is able to safely get out. Gabby, he is still in the tree line on the east of the map, just trying to hide, but Team Dog don't seem to be aware that he is there. So everything going to be okay for them. They might try to force out Armel to buy back, though.
Yeah, looks like they are just going to try to force TNC to respond. They do have this BKB up on In Your Dream, so as long as he responds in time, should be able to keep himself safe there. The buyback is forced out from Febby, So they're going to have the numbers anyway to sort of deal with the split, but Gabby?
Oh, could be in danger. He was still sticking around. He is very, very quick with the Ags, though. It's very tough to try and keep up with this Wind Ranger. Especially when she goes invis every time.
Could be worse. Oh, wait, no, it couldn't.
And with that, I mean, Armel's about to respawn in 30. So it looks like they're not going to really have the time to get any pressure out onto TNC before Armel is back up. And even the Roshan, it's going to be up in 10 seconds, but that's still going to give time for TNC to try and make a rotation and try to defend that next Roshan.
Yeah, and they are working their AoE spells a lot more. They've got safe long-range initiation with the stomps from Febby. They can kind of zone out Team Dog's movement as well. So they need to be a bit cautious. They are starting in the rush though, Team Dog. It is with a refresh orb as well, the refresh shard, so they're going to have a little bit more added utility. Potentially on any of their hero. Maybe the Avalanche Toss gets a refresh, maybe Abed Spells gets a refresh. So good bump up there. Looks like they're not going to be able to come in for the contestation in time here, TNC, just a bit too slow in the movement.
But they are. Now the Santa hat flying in the air. Like Abed does take the refresh shard for himself, so now you can just kind of refresh your remnants. Even has a refresher orb coming out soon on Abed, just to really be able to just be impossible to catch. He's Shackle
Abed?
is out. They caught out Abed on the Ember. He does get tossed back, but it's not going to be good enough. He has to buy back, and he will.
Double down on sorcery.
KP could be in a spot of trouble in your dream. Not going to see him. It is nighttime after all. Did not get the vision he needed.
This is a bit of a scary spot now for Team Dog. They're down one buyback. A lot of value came out from TNC with that one ward up. There is a smoke now though, so they want to make use of this buyback, get themselves a lead, maybe start to find more objectives as well with a pick-off. They're going to have to find an angle as TNC for the most part are back on their high ground here.
They are in your dream. DD Rune's still active for another 10 seconds or so. He'll go after the tier 3 tower. Does take it out. KB gonna jump in with a nice little silence. Now Arrow landing as well. They've caught out the big boy, but Abed, he's gonna jump in the back and make sure they can't go forward. Earthsplit are gonna be dodged. They got the Hex off onto Febby as well. Febby, he's gonna die. Armel forced to back off through the Viper Strike, but Arfu gonna be caught out now and should go down to Gabby, but an Avalanche Toss does come out in time. In your dream now gonna jump in, but Gabby once again avoiding all the hits. Meanwhile, Armel back onto Ice. He's gonna morph back into the Wind Ranger and just go for a bit of a run. Shackles won't actually land onto In Your Dream. Lincolns do break. He still has the Aegis. He'll go for the racks. And that might just be enough for Team Dog. Arrow, not going to land there from Tim's. In Your Dream, going to keep going, but KP going to jump in now with a nice Aether Remnant. Another Shackles, going to go back the way of Armel. That'll be enough. Up towards the top lane they go. Or maybe not, back down to the bot lane perhaps, but the Remnant, not going to make it in time from Arbet. Gabby is able to just blink away. Gabby, he wants to keep the chase up. He's actually going to run into Arbet, but Arbet is invis. It's probably not really that advised to go into the Ember by yourself right now. Arbet, he's going to be just fine. TNC, they'll have to accept the fact that they've lost the second lane of Barracks. And that's going to make it a 2-for-2 in terms of Barracks. So the map has evened out quite nicely. No outer tower standing either for either team. I wonder who strikes first.
It's a relatively even game, but with the lead pretty much gone for Team Dog, or gone in any significant way at 50 minutes in, I'd say this is TNC looking a lot better. Their Morphling's just getting a bit too much space. They've got so much evasion with Armel. He's got the Butterfly. He's always in the Wind Run because of the Ags upgrade on the Wind Ranger form. So without any sort of MKB being lined up just yet, you're not going to get the damage off. And Your Dream is saving up for it now. He's running out of space in his inventory to really shuffle things around. He's going to have to play backpack shuffling in the middle of a fight to really maximize his BKB and his Lincolns. just really hard now to shuffle that
That's
in.
better. There you go.
There.
I was about to ask, why even MKB? Go all in. You're 51 minutes into the game. Just get the Divine Rapier. In your dream, he ends up doing it. He's not wasting his time with that damn MKB purchase. And now it's just a matter of pushing out this top lane and trying to find the space to actually get this Divine working.
Well, they've only got about 40 seconds, 45 seconds left to get this Aegis going. So they've got to make it fast and find a big win soon before the Aegis expires. Otherwise, they run the risk of giving this Divine away. So be cautious about that in your dream, knowing his Aegis timer.
Listen, we targeted. Double Shackles are out. They do get the Enchantress.
Wait, is that it?
Nice little pick up there from TNC. There is a buyback available on Paulison if he needs it, but he won't. Not quite yet anyway. I say that, but TNC are slowly starting to rotate up towards the top lane. There isn't really a Rax there to take, but maybe they could try to invade the base. It looks like they're not really going to bother. Or maybe Gabby. Shackles not actually going to latch onto the Viper, but Ice is still in trouble. He blade mails up and Paulson is going to buy back. In your dream, however, Abyssal is going to be there onto Febby. He needs to be careful with that Divine Rapier, but he does find Febby. Now Arbit going to rush in. He gets Armel on the Morphling, but the BKB is going to be out into the Wind Ranger form. Going to try and run away as they continue the chase. The chains is there. Armel, Lincoln's broken. Still moving. In your dream, he does get a bash off, and now Armel, big trouble. He'll Manta and just trying to waveform away, but in your dream, he guts the bash off. Cancels the TP of the Morph, and they even found another. It's going to be the big one, or rather the second big one. It's going to be Gabby. Gabby, Flicker not working in his favor, but he can still just kind of run away. He's going to be all right. KB trying to go after Ice. This could work against him. Does dissimulate off the Viper Strike, but in your dream is now around, and they have the Abyssal Blade. Aeon Disc going to be procced, but he has no Astral Steps left. Has one back up in a second, but the Avalanche perfectly timed by Arfu.
The cost of magic.
And this is that point if you're the side of Team Dog, you start to think about going back to the Radiant base and forcing out the rest of the buybacks here from TNC, which they will get started on. KB's going to buy back. They want Armel's buyback too.
They're going to need to commit a lot more, although.
Gabby, nice Shackles out. Looks like he has found Arfu, so the Tiny is going to die, and Armel did buy back. An arrow is going to be there on Zapolison. That's a dieback on the Enchantress. Now KB rushing for more. Arfu, he's going to buy back, but Ice, he's already caught out, and he may as well just already be dead, and he will eventually go down a Febby.
It's a scary time now for both teams. TNC, they've bought back on their biggest hero. Team Dog do have the option of maybe buying back on Ice if they feel the need to. There's nothing really to go on for the map. They're not shoved out far enough to immediately go high ground. Roche is still set to reset in about 40 seconds, and we'll find out when it will be up. So they've got some room here on Team Dog to breed, whereas TNC might be a bit pressured to find something. You do see the Ags upgrade flying out here for Tims. So he's going to have his Sacred Arrow with the Meteor Fall. Starstorm, although.
Armel, kind of lucky he did not get bashed. Arfu gets spotted there by KB. KB just going to go for the wards instead anyway. Down to the bot lane they go. They'd love that final lane of barracks, and it doesn't really take them too long to get it either. Once they get started. You've also got the buyback on Ice to work towards. But now, Refresher Orb on him, but there goes your Tier 3 tower, so in your dream, going to jump in, but no Lucky Bash is coming out. They are still trying to go after Armel. That's the target they want, but Gabby also going to get jumped on. They'll just bounce back around. Refresh is there on Arbet. However, he's been focus fired down. He's still alive, just remnanting around, trying to find the target he wants. There goes KP. In your dream now, trying to go after Tims, unable to catch him out. Instead, maybe go after Febby, but no, he's going to be fine as well. Gabby going to jump in on the Wind Ranger. But he has that invis. And they are lacking detection on Team Dog. they can't really take them out because they keep getting this invis through the wind run. Very, very disgusting stuff here from TNC.
Yeah, it's harder and harder for Team Dog to counteract that mobility that you're seeing coming out here. At the same time, they do manage to get a successful defense. They were forced to buy back on one hero as well, so they're kind of even in terms of sacrificing some buybacks here. There are only like 3 buybacks so far in the game, all of which are on TNC, so they've got a little bit more leeway there. Team Dog do not. They do smoke up though. They want to make something happen with KP down. Maybe they find something big.
Are they going to try? Definitely is a nice kind of advantage to have. 4v5. Arrows. The multi-shot. Gonna have to be very careful about those. But in your dream, he's a man of business. He'll go straight after the racks. Can't forget either, we are 3 minutes away from having those tier 5 items up. And they make the jump into In Your Dream, but he's going to be okay for now. He might need to blink away soon. He does. But going to jump in, trying to find Gabby. Instead, Armel is the target they really want. Oh, and the shackles do come out. Gabby being caught out on his own, but again, the invis is going to make it so he does remain alive. Another shackles onto ice. Doesn't land. More shackles coming out. Still don't land. They would love to just be able to take that Rax out before KP does come up, but Arfu going to jump in for a nice toss back. He finds Febby. Mana Void will be committed. Febby will buy back immediately. Still Gabby going to get jumped on now. Back to Armel, jumping back in. Does kill off Ice. That was Tim's actually getting the kill. Gabby still okay in the back lines. In Your Dream was chasing. Meanwhile, Armel does kill off Paulison. And so, ultimately, it still ends up being a positive team fight for TNC. They do have to buy back on Febby, but they have 2 heroes down without buyback now on Team Dog. However, and they get this Roshan, Armel. He's going to get started. That's a Roshan with everything on it. And it looks like they're going to get away with this.
It's going to be a big take for TNC. So much more coming out here. Ags upgrade to fly out onto anyone that needs it as well. So they've got even a more utility coming through here for the side of TNC. Team Dog, it's just looking really awkward. They lose the lead now as well. So Netford lead is gone, but they are smoked. They might want to go for a cheeky, just straight ancient play here.
I mean, they have the Divine Rapier. It's not going to take very long. In Your Dream. Can you get it done? He shows himself now. Arfu going to jump in. Tier 4 tower is getting pretty low, but it's nowhere near fast enough. And poor Arfu, he got baited into this. It's like, wait a minute, I can't blink away like that. Who's going to save me? That's a dieback, by the way, on Arfu.
Yeah, that's a costly one, Team Dog. They do stall out. So there's no immediate rush from the Roche into the high ground, but you're still losing the numbers game here. They will maybe hold out long enough for Ice to be back up on his Viper. Still, the situation's just looking really dire for the dire side here on Team Dog. There's only so much you can expect In Your Dream to do. Like, he's fully slotted up. Maybe a tier 5 item can come out to help them out in the next, 6 seconds. They should be aware of that timing, but TNC are just going to keep that aggression up.
Yeah, I can't blame them for this. And they take these Raxes very, very quick. And that's Mega Creeps up now, TNC. Making the comeback happen thus far. It's still anyone's game to take, but TNC certainly have a bit of an advantage going for themselves now. Do they go for the jugular yet? It doesn't look like it. They're just going to take their time because there's tier 5 items. There's a Ballista out. I think Gabby might be taking that, and he does. And so you can't really ever kill Gabby now because you just get knocked back all the time. KB gonna jump in onto Ice. In Your Dream gonna reflect the shackle. Hex out. They've poured out the Void Spirit, but he does get 4-staffed away. Shackle is out. Gabby, he caught 2 of them. In Your Dream's in there. Do they take him out in time? Not quite. The AM's going to be fine, or maybe not. The silences are there. In Your Dream, just getting knocked back. He's going to go down. The Divine on the deck. Armel will be the one to take it, and now it's their game to win, or rather lose. If they did end up throwing this away, but I can't imagine it happening. Is Paulson gonna get blown up? A triple kill out for Armel. Dude, trying to jump in your dream will do the same, but where's your damage output? It's probably not going to be there. Arbit will try. The Ancient exposed. Armel might just ignore everyone and go for it, or maybe he'll go after Arbit first. But Ember is dropping low. He'll just call the GG before he dies. In your dream dies anyway, and Armel, he'll finish it off with a rampage.
Oh,
And what a comeback out from TNC. And I suppose if there's one thing we learn here, John, we can't doubt TNC when they have Morphling. They always have something up their sleeve when it comes to this hero.
that they do. They managed to make it work. 42 to 42, really even. If you look at that win probability graph as well, I've never seen Dota Plus this confused.
Whoops.
It goes up and down. Rather unfortunate for Team Dog. They wait a bit too long. They gave a lot of space out to our mill. They should have sieged the high ground while they were really strong, but they take their time. And that cautiousness really cost them. So TNC managed to find an opportunity, blast it wide open, and Team Dog just taking way too long there. Really good comeback from TNC. Does force us into game number 3 here.
Let's see how it does pan out. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes for the final game of this best of 3 between TNC Predator and Team Dog. See you very, very soon. going straight through to the grand final, and the loser will have to go down to the lower bracket finals, that is, to see if they can make it to the grand final. Till then, however, John, game number 3, how you feeling?
It's a big shakeup in game number 2 there from TNC. They hold out long enough. They get a lot of farm going on Armel. The double Wind Rangers were just a bit too much for Team Dog to deal with. It took a long time for In Your Dream to build anything to counteract that invasion. By the time he had it with the Divine Rapier, it felt like it was a bit too late. So, really good holdout from TNC, turning around a huge deficit into their favor. That's going to shake up Team Dog. I think when you lose a game like that, as a team, you're not going to be feeling great. That's just a huge swing because you know you had it in the bag and it just slips your fingers. So we'll see if they can shake themselves out of that feeling and try to work themselves out here in the last game of the series and secure that grand final spot. But TNC are not an opponent you can take it easy up against. Even if you have this massive lead, they'll just find gaps and try to punish you.
That they did. Well, the drafts have begun again. This time around, Team Dog switching it up. They'll go for the Undying Leshrac opening. TNC Predator back to the Marauder and also back to the Viper. Of course, we saw in Game 1, they ran the offlane Viper and it wasn't very effective. Team Dog, they were having a very easy time dealing with that offlane Viper. I wonder if TNC really intend to throw that back in the offlane, or maybe they give it to Armel in the mid lane.
The tendency for TNC has been putting it off, but they could easily put it mid if they expect Team Dog to run this Abed Leshrac mid instead, although that could be a support here for Team Dog, so we might be seeing Undying Leshrac as the support duo. We'll have to see as it evolves, but there's a little bit more flexibility on Team Dog. I think the Viper is definitely going to be a core. I mean, support Viper is something that we have seen in the odd game or two. It is fairly greedy though, and you've already got Sims and Miranda anyway, so it doesn't slot in too well as a 5. So again, the flexibility is on Dog's side. Still nice to see these bans coming out here for both sides. TNT actually banning out the Morphling themselves. They also take out the Terrorblade here. Team Dog taking care of that Void, the Doom. We'll have to see what else they want to take out. Nothing really telegraphed from these openings from both sides, although Team Dog do have a stronger push lineup with the Leshrac, just because you can definitely focus in on those towers with Diabolic Edict up. So that might be what Team Dog start to build around, just the potential of taking these early objectives.
We'll find out. I mean, we do have a ban each to come. Team Dog, they do get rid of the PL for themselves, which is rather interesting considering they do have the Leshrac, but just not wanting to have to deal with it later on, I suppose. TNC, they'll have a bit of time to think about their 5th and final ban, but it'll be the Timber. Just respect banning that up against Ice. And you know, John, some people say Sven got nerfed in this patch. But in reality, he really didn't, John. He just has to be a bit more patient now. 20 minutes in, Superman is still alive.
I would say it's actually a buff. Because you suddenly free up that level 15 talent for something else. So you can actually pick up a little bit more power at your 15. You just pay for power now, so it's literally pay to win with the Sven. Right? It is pay to win. You get your shard at 20, and then you win. That's it with the Sven. So he's still an absolute menace. We'll see if they can get that space out for Gabby. Otherwise, the values in the heroes hasn't really affected it too much, I don't reckon. Team Dog, I mean, it's been unbanned in the series. It does slide through. They have to be ready and dealing with it. They've got Lesh with a magic damage, so that should force our Sven to maybe rush a BKB in this game at some point to mitigate that. They have room for something like the Oracle if they wanted to, but kind of a moot point with the Dispel on the Sven. They go with the Troll instead. So it does come out here. We'll see just how In Your Dream builds up. We've been seeing, again, it's that usual Battle Fury build that we've been seeing for the most part when the Troll comes in. But it does give you a core that farms up well, can be aggressive early, and sort of maybe handle the Sven. Now, the Troll has some interesting aspects with his new Dispels, right? I believe that's his Ags or Shards upgrade, one of those two. He's got a self-dispel and an enemy dispel on his axis, whether range or melee. So could add some utility here for Team Dog. TNC, Omni Knight was available. They do go into it, which leaves a bit of a question as to what's the support and what's the KP hero. or if these are all cores,
It
pretty open for TNC if they wanted to.
it seems like a really strong draft to come out from TNC. Team Dog, they're gonna go with the Void Spirit now, but we've seen the Omni Sven. It's tried and tested, and
Yep.
sure you've got to wait till 20 minutes now, but that doesn't seem like that long of a wait for the Sven to truly be a menace. I'm just not sure about this for Team Dog. Like, giving the Sven Omni away, maybe they're very, very confident in their ability to be able to finish the game too fast for TNC, to really be able to kind of handle, but it seems like you're putting yourself in a very uncomfortable position if you are Team Dog with this style of draft.
Yeah, it's an awkward spot. Like, you have to contend with this. The one thing I can see is that they're not the most amazing laners. I mean, we've seen the weakness of the Viper. If it does fall behind, you can kind of make use of that and bully it down. The Omni Knight as well doesn't necessarily stop the damage from the Leshrac. Most certainly does make it easier to slip out of that control, though. So that is something that TNC can play with. Team Dog, it looks like their last pick is going to be focused on Ice Ice Ice, unless he's playing the Void Spirit, but I don't reckon that's the case. It could be. Could be the Ice 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 Void Spirit, or even the offlane Leshrac, possibly, but that's been really unpopular for the most part. So we'll have to see how they close out. They don't have last pick overall as well, so they're going to have to show their hand first, and that means TNC can continue to build on this really strong draft by kind of figuring out who lanes where and get a favorable matchup.
5 seconds remain.
Well, last pick up now. Team Dog. You talked about that offlane pick. It still does feel like they want to go for that Ice 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 hero here. If they wanted to, I don't think it's going to be that great, but you've got the Darkseid if you really want, you know, Ice to be on that.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel amazing, though.
No. Especially with the Ags change, I think you've got to reconsider. You lose the double wall, at least with the Ags upgrade. So I know if you'd really want to pull it out here, you've got the option for Brewmaster, which has taken changes kind of iffy into an Omni with Heavenly Greystow. Could be an option for Ice if you wanted it to be there. I think the changes on the Brew might make it a little bit more viable, especially with that added Void Spirit. It is rather pesky with Disarm, so could be added utility here for Dog if they wanted to, but we haven't really seen that pop out. Not sure if that's an option at all for Team Dog.
We're having a very long think for this last pick.
The Tidehunter is available if they wanted to go into that.
I actually like the Tide.
Yeah, it fits really well. Teamfight's nice. You've got this Ags upgrade as well if things go dicey, and you've got the laning against Sven, melee hero. They go to Pango instead, which gives them natural disarm. Kind of contend with the Sven. It gives them pretty nice teamfight as well, tying in with their Leshen and Undying once you get the Pangolier roll going. TNC close out with a Quap, so just keeping it solid. They've got a way of jumping in, getting their damage off. Really nicely stitched up draft from TNC, probably their nicest draft in the series. Team Dog have to pull out some good punches here. They've got to get Abed off to a running start with his Void Spirit. Make sure Ice 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 on his Pango is going to be as disruptive as possible and get In Your Dream that early farm he needs. They're also running slightly greedier supports, at least in terms of EXP with the Lesh Undying. So they need to kind of stick in their lanes, get some EXP up so that they do hit their level spikes by around the 10-minute mark here.
All right. Siako's game number 3. This is the final game and last chance to make it straight through to the grand final. I suppose I should ask you, John, since we are into the last game, which draft do you prefer overall?
TNC is hands down. They've got the Sven Omni Knight combination here. It's tried and tested. I don't think the movement of the Dispel into the Shards is going to hurt the Sven all too much. 20 minutes is around the timing you see that anyway. Really kick into gear, so Gabby still has a lot of utility. Just going to have to spend that gold first into it, which might hurt, but Sven flash farm so fast, it's not a major issue. You also don't have the strongest lockdown here from Team Dog to keep something like the Queen of Pain locked in. And you still have this lingering question of how do you fight into the Omni Knight. Once Guardian Angels pop, sure, Afu can get some damage out, but you basically lose the damage on your main core, which is a big worry. and Heavenly Grace is going to be ridiculously annoying to play against here.
Well, like we said, John, last chance here for both these teams. Grand final spot on the line. TNC versus Team Dog. Game number 3. We shall get it underway and see how it does all pan out. I would agree with your sentiment, by the way, John. I was also leaning towards TNC side of things when it comes to draft.
You gotta be kidding.
I never have faith in the Troll Warlords these days. I realize we're into a new patch as well, but I never feel good about them.
Ovid, he's bored already. Z's are out. Gabby's laughing because he gets the Sven.
Sad stuff for Armel. He has to play the Queen of Pain again for the 2000th time this patch. Or last patch, I guess. Fu, he's going to run straight into him. Gabby will have the Stormhammer, and they should have the follow-up there. Arrow is not going to land. Do they have enough slow? Not quite. Fu is going to be able to run out of range.
30 seconds.
What's wrong with KP's Viper? Why does it look kind of anemic? It looks like a noodle with wings.
I mean, there's plenty of things that look different all of a sudden. Like, this Mirana looks very dark right now. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same thing. Maybe my settings changed without me knowing.
Is it the smoke aura? I think it's not giving alpha values correctly, so it's just dark. Yeah, it looks like the alpha's broken on particles. So it's just an aura of darkness around. Beautiful. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Beta game, Mike.
Beta game indeed. They try on to Ice. Another arrow not going to connect, however. That's going to mean the Team Dog, they walk away scot-free. They take a bit of harassment, but overall, no first blood being spilt quite yet. And while we're here, John, we'll have a look down at the bot lane where Ice, he'll be there with Arfu on the Leshrac. They are going to be up against Febby on the Omni, and of course, Gabby on the Sven. And I can't really imagine Gabby or Febby dying very easily in this laning stage. Should be fairly safe for them.
Yeah, they're fairly beefy. Afu maybe get some damage in if he can land his stun combination. You might get some harassment out, but in terms of just straight out killing, tall task, tall order for the side of Team Dog. Gonna be steady farming. I think the best they can hope for is to disrupt Gabby's farm. Ensure that he's gonna have to rely on some jungle creep stacked up here, which Omni Knight doesn't really enjoy doing, although Tims might have the space to do it, so should be the most steady lane for both sides, this bot lane. Gabby, as long as he's finding it even, is not going to worry too much at all. So it should be holding steady there for the side of TNC. Compare that to up top. You've already got a bit of chaotic time here, contesting this pullout. Inner Dream's just trying to get some farm. Paulson's already dropping low. He's already out of region as well. So this is already a fantastic start for TNC in terms of zoning out this Undying. And Paulson's just gonna... He might have to look for an early reset, although he does have mangoes. But you have drained your pool here, and that's never what you want on the Undying.
Yeah, it's a very tough lane for the Troll Undying, which would generally be a very, very kind of dominant lane, these two being together, but that's just not the case up against the Viper of Mirana. They're still going to just stick around, of course, just keep farming up, but unlike last game, it's very doubtful that we'll see KP dying a lot on this Viper during the laning stage. He should have a much, much better time. And even with Tims on the Mirana this time around, he obviously probably won't die either. He'll have a nice fun time throwing arrows out. Mid lane, however, Arbet getting very, very low, forced to use that Fairy Fire, and does get the Aether Remnant out in time as well. Mel does drop a little bit low, and both mid cores are just kind of sitting there on very low HP. It's a matter of who makes the jump first. Neither, I believe, really has the potential to kill each other right now with their level 3s. You might just want to wait till that level 4 mark. Either way, it looks like Arbit is probably suffering just a little bit more in that Void Spirit, as it is still extremely difficult to try and go up against the Queen of Pain 1v1, and there's an arrow coming out from Tims, but it does not land on Arbit.
Yeah, it's pretty long range. Really sneaky, though. If it did manage to slide in, that would have been a nice first blood to pick up for TNC. But this is a really slow lane for Arbit. Like, he's not falling too far behind in last hits now. He did have to drain so much more regen early on. He does have his bottle, so that does provide some relief. And for both of these mid laners, the power runes at the 4-minute mark is going to be really important. So TNC's got a bit of an edge. They've got the Mirana. They've got way more mobility on RML with his early level and Blink. So it's going to be easier for our Quap to get in position to grab that rune and deny it from Abed. And Abed, with a bottle, does not want that gone from him.
That he does not. Back down to the bot lane. Bit of a missed range creep there from Gabby, but he's not going to mind. It wasn't denied off anyway, so that's going to feel kind of nice. It's like Ice 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 is having a great old lane though on the Pango. Currently 19-5 on the Pangolier so thus far. Just keep that up. This mid lane, Arbit trying to go onto Armel. Is going to connect the 8th. The Remnant. Armel is going to verify, but the Soul Rip is out from Paulson just in the nick of time, and Armel does go down for the first blood. Looks like Tims was able to pick up the power rune, which was a regen rune on the Mirana, but TNC definitely going to be very upset about Armel dying like that in the Quap.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. That gives Abed some room to recover here. He is forced to just get a salve out for himself, but that's perfectly fine. Finding that kill does open up the opportunities. Surprising, like, you don't tend to expect the early Undying rotation to make that much impact, but Paulson does find himself at the right spot at the right time to get that done. You are really finding everything you want to from Team Dog. Top lane for In Your Dream, he's just finding steady farm. KP's not under any threat of dying, and he is finding some steady farm himself, but you aren't slowing down the troll, which is really what you want to see from the Viper. So, In Your Dream still finding steady build-up. Gabby's just been slowing down. It's been consistent from Ice. Just so annoying. He's got level 4 up, level 2 Swash, and level 2 Lucky Shot. So he can get lucky, get the disarms off, and just make it awkward for Gabby to stand there and farm. And that's not exactly what you want. Again, when you get a slow start in the Sven here, you're going to need to build up stacks in the jungle, and that is going to be mainly down to Tims, as you can't expect an Omni Knight to get that done all too well.
Just got some news from one of our lovely admins, by the way, John. Apparently there is another patch coming to address economy and map changes in about a week. So, shout out to you, sir. Thank you for the information. And you know, I was a bit upset when there was no map changes. I'll be honest, John. I was quite upset, but there you go. There's a big change coming after the initial one. Bot lane,
That's fair.
Arthur, oh, can they get the kill? Yeah, they can. Febby is going to die. Arthur, the one to take the kill there. Meanwhile, towards the mid, I thought they may have been going on to Arbid, but it looks like Arbid's just very comfortable underneath this tier 1 tower. Really being uncontested, and also has a nice haste rune in the bottle, just in case he does require it. Thus far, he has not required it. Top lane, though, Paulson going to get caught out on the Undying. And he's going to slowly but surely die to KP's poison.
Yeah, nice pickup there coming out for Tims and KP, making use of this nice deep ward they've planted early on just to ensure that any stacks built up are going to be contestable. So they find their first kill in this game. Not the biggest target, but you take the freebie on KP after his relatively slow lane. Abba does manage to clear out a nice stack though. With the help of our Quap, although that might have all gone to our at the end. I'm not quite sure. Didn't catch the color. Still, you are seeing this good, steady start for Team Dog. TNC now, I mean, they're already starting to build up. Febby is the one actually stacking here on the camps just to get something for Gabby, but he's really under contest here under his own tier 1.
That he is. Gabby, Heavenly Grace going to help him out. Tim's also going to rotate around. Ice. Go for the Rolling Thunder back into the Sven, and Gabby stuck around a farm. That means he's going to die. They do also kill off Febby, and now Tims is trying to just kill off Arfu, but he can't even get that. They're going to chase Arfu down. Sonic Wave. Armel does land a great 2-man Sonic Wave out and does get at least a decent trade for his team. But ultimately, if you are the side of Team Dog, you're still pretty satisfied with how all of it went.
Yeah, you get a nice kill on the Sven. You're keeping Gabby down. He's already had a slow start. His last hits aren't shaping up any better. He will need to clear out these stacks at some point. The next step for Team Dog is maybe to control that bot jungle or get some vision out to find those stacks. But overall, TNC's not really falling too far behind. It's only a slight lead here for Team Dog. But this is not the sort of early game start they'd want. You can see Ice 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 and Abadis do smoke up as well with that immediate respawn, just trying to get some movements out in the map.
They don't have the Rolling Thunder up, which could make things slightly difficult, but they are going to steal away these stacks. Arbet, the Remnant can actually catch out Armel. I believe they have enough to lock him down, but they'll go for the first Astral Step. Armel trying to just blink away, but another Astral Step, and the Rolling Thunder going to come through. Armel does go down to the quad, but now poor old Febby in big trouble is also going to die. Great rotation out from Team Dog. That's going to make it a 3-7 with a 1k net worth lead now to the Dire side. And, Tims has gone back for the Tombstone, but it may cost him his life. He does get it in the end, but the earn charge is there from Ice. Tims is indeed going to die. Some would argue that's worth for the Tombstone, but, you know, he's probably not happy about dying and wasting all his leap charges like that.
It's really not, though. Like, level 1 Tombstone, I believe, is a 150 gold bounty. So you lost a little bit more as you give Ice 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 200 in exchange. Net lost overall, bit risky play, but I dig the sentiment. Ice 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 though is very far forward in trying to contest some farm, but this is exactly what Team Dog needs to do. Invade that jungle, constantly run in, play with her lower cooldowns, and buy space for In Your Dream at the same time. So our trolls just left completely alone bot, Afu's playing in the tree line, melting that tier 1, and all the attention is away from In Your Dream. This is exactly what Team Dog would love to get, and this should set In Your Dream up for a decent timing into that Battle Fury.
The thing is, though, if you go for the Battle Fury troll, which is fairly standard, are you not kind of lining yourself up to maybe be punished a little bit later on by TNC once their own Sven is online? I thought maybe they'd want to go for like some kind of quick fighting item build, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like they are happy to go a bit later on as, well, Gabby spotted out for a second, but Arbet just going to dissimulate away, and Gabby is happily going to keep farming up these neutrals. But I do wonder whether this item build-up from In Your Dream is going to cost them a bit later on.
It's a sensitive timing. I think you will have to make it work. The issue with Troll going for, say, Diffusal into, say, Manta or SNY is once you fall behind, you really crash. You don't flash farm as well. And Ice 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 up top, though.
Febby might die. He's going to survive. Ice, meanwhile, is being chased down by Gabby. But Gabby not going to be able to get anywhere close to catching out Ice. They are slowly setting up for this top tier 1 tower, which we saw in game 2. They were a bit late in taking the tier 1 tower out. Now they are going to give it a shot as Tims is going to jump in with Armel there. They have the Sonic Wave. They might just have to commit it as well. There's your Sonic Wave out Ice. Still alive somehow. Does swashbuckle away, but does die. Now Paulison going to come in with the Tombstone and the Flesh Golem trying to fight this one out. Arbet goes in as well, but the Tombstone already down, and I don't believe they'll have the damage output to deal with TNC. They will go back for that tier 1 tower, but Arbet not done quite yet. Dissimulate is going to be there, and Gabby does end up going down to the Sven. Tims also being caught by the Remnant. Tims, no leap charges left, so Arbet is indeed going to go back and get a double kill for himself, and that tier 1 tower is going to be left standing.
Yeah, they're just making this aggression work, Team Dog. Managed to protect their tower, and they're getting another fight.
Yeah, Battle Trance popped immediately by In Your Dream. He does not want to waste any time. And, I mean, we talked about the tier 1 top tower not going down for Team Dog. They just kept that tier 1 alive, plus got a mid-tier 1 tower down. They are looking very healthy and very strong thus far.
Yeah, it's a really good start for Team Dog. 4-11, 4k lead in their end. They've really kept Gabby down. They've cleared out all the right stacks. They've kept good control on the bot jungle and the triangle. TNC's been having a hard time getting some safe space for Gabby. He's going to have to play in that top jungle instead, where it's slightly safer. I believe his Mask of Madness is flying out, so he does have his farm acceleration tool ready to go. But he's going to need to find that space to get that farm up, as Team Dog, as long as they give him the opportunity, they will keep shrinking this map and they smoke up.
No. Uh-oh. Mel doesn't want to die, but he doesn't really have much of a choice in the matter. He's going to go down fairly easily. Oh, they're going to spawn out those ancient stacks. That is a lot of ancients to take. Whereas in your dream, he doesn't have the Battle Fury up yet, so these aren't going to be the easiest to take. But they might just stick around and guard them as now Febby going to get caught out by Arbit. Is going to die. KB in the back lines. Viper Strike is there onto Paulison. He's going to die in the fountain. Paulison does die in the end. He just got home before he did go down. They really want those Ancients though. They are not allowing TNC to take them, and it looks like they are literally going to stick around until the Battle Fury is finished on In Your Dream, which, by the way, it's just a little bit of gold off finishing now. And then he can make his way over and start contesting. However, nice. Gonna roll in. Looks like those Ancients were indeed taken by Gabby. So they commit 5 heroes to make sure that they can get them, but Gabby does eventually take them out. Arbed. It's the 8th Remnant onto Tim's, but follow up to it.
Yeah, it's a good objective for TNC to finally secure back that triangle, so Gabby gets the gold injection he needs. Battle Fury is up, though, for In Your Dream. So he's been playing this bot jungle uncontested. They have had a ward keeping track of that troll, but this is where it really starts to boil down. If In Your Dream can outform the Sven, or at least maintain this lead he has, then this Battle Fury becomes a lot of value. You've also got probably the best item for the troll here. Possessed Mask is on him for his tier 1. He's going to be able to sustain himself in that jungle quite nicely, even without his own Morbid Mask. Just a really good pickup from them. Team Dog, again, keeping that aggression up. They've smoked up here, Paulson and Abed, and still keeping that hunt going.
Yeah, it looks like they want to try and bait using that 15-minute power rune, but Tim's is going to spot out the Undying. However, he has not spotted out Arbet, who does have the Yule Scepter up now, and will catch out Tim's with the 8th Remnant. He will try to leap away, but it is going to be no good. Arbet having plenty of control on that Void Spirit just on his own. It's going to be another kill onto Tim's and that Mirana. And for TNC, all they can do is kind of sit back and just wait it out, try to get more farm going on Gabby. Slowly but surely he's getting there, but now he's been caught out. He does throw out the stun onto Ice, but Arbit has the control again, and Gabby has been stunned up by this Rolling Thunder. Does it connect a second time? No, not quite. Arbit has to go back in onto Gabby, but Gabby is still running away. Do they have the damage? Yeah, they eventually will. They even found KP on the side, and now it looks like they found Febby. That 8th Remnant going to be on target once again. Arbit on a mega kill streak. A 6k net worth lead for Team Dog.
Yeah, they're really just running this draft really well. It's run and gun. It's the focus on the objectives as well. And TNC, I mean, they've got the Sven Omni that just hasn't kicked off in a meaningful way. They've not been able to force fights with the durability that this affords them, and they're just losing their jungle space. Tier 2 tower faults, bottom jungle completely opened up now to the side of Team Dog. The lead on In Your Dream just keeps growing wider, and he is going for the SNY build, so he's going to be ready to fight relatively soon. Whereas Gabby, of course, I mean, he's going to have to wait for his BKB. Looks like we might see him go for the shards, but I mean, you tend to, right? You just want that Dispel on the Sven. But with how his farm is going, I'm not sure if he's going to have the gold to spare for it at the 20-minute mark.
I mean, it is very, very slow going right now for Gabby. You're still going to get the Ags up before the shards to really feel like you can just make the jump in. Oh, Mel, he was farming fine in the laning stage, but after that, just it all started kind of going downhill. He's not too far behind, but when you compare it to Arbet and In Your Dream, they are just behind enough. What is it, John?
No, I was just looking at these sentry wards by the rank. There are 2 sentries right next to each other. I wonder why.
Relevatos has caught out Paulison. Mel going to be around. Jump in from Arbet. They do kill off one, but they can't afford to lose this swap. She will be able to jump out. In Your Dream, going to rush forward onto Febby. Meanwhile, KB kind of been left behind here, and Arfu, as the pos for Leshrak, will just take him out. And now In Your Dream, onto Febby. Arrow does not connect, nicely juked out. Meanwhile, Tim's dives to Ice, and In Your Dream does find himself an Omni Knight for his trouble. And they might just go for the Roshan pit, because why the hell not?
They've got the damage, they've got the farm, they've got the time. TNC do not have the heroes to contest. The best you can do right now is just get some space out for Gabby, make use of this time, just keep that farm up, rush into that BKB. Without it, you're a sitting duck, 2 to control and damage here. You're just going to have to give this one away. Good pickup here for Team Dog. Widens the lead now to 8k, 6-20 at 18.5 minutes in. And this is just a fantastic start. In Your Dream widening the lead compared to our Sven. He's about 2k up on his troll. SNY just about done as well. So he is just ready to rock and roll in this troll. And he's going to have everything he wants. For Gabby, I mean, again, the insane Sven is still capable of coming out, but it takes an additional gold investment now as well.
Run of Atos there. Arrow doesn't connect onto Arbed. He's just going to jump straight back in as well with the Astral Step onto KB. They get the disarm off. Into the Rolling Thunder they go, and poor old KB just seems like he's constantly being targeted. He will go down again. Into Tim's now. They should not really have the damage for Tim's, and they won't. But they get another nice pos 3 kill. And with that, if you're Team Dog, I mean, you're controlling so much of the map right now. It just doesn't feel like Gabby has any form of space to farm on this Sven.
No. He does not have any safe spot to farm. He's just trying to find what he can. Whenever Team Dog finds a kill, he's playing the opposite side, or as far away possible, and it just doesn't lead to too much farm. You are losing some space here. I think the biggest issue for TNC is that they do not have a clear angle to attack. Like their control is just limited outside of their Sven Mirana, and KP can only do so much to set up on this Viper.
Oh no, it looks like, speaking of KP, he was caught out underneath the sentry ward. They do grace him up, but the chase is still on by the battle trance. Meanwhile, it looks like they found another in the form of Tim's. And KB going down to In Your Dream. Arbed gonna find Armel on the Queen of Pain. Armel, he's caught out by that Remnant. And he's just gonna drop so dark quick to In Your Dream. It's it's not even close right now. 11k net worth lead. And mind you, I mean, obviously the draft of Team Dog does seem to be much more powerful at this stage of the game, but they are playing very, very well.
Oh, that they are. They're just playing with their power spikes while they've given a good amount of distribution as well out into Afu, which is why he's so effective in the Slush. He's just gotten the levels up that he needs very early on. He's got some decent farm flowing in as well. They're hitting some good spikes here inside of Team Dog. TNC, this is sort of reminiscent to how Game 2 started, except this is a lot... Well, I guess the numbers are a bit worse for TNC here. But if they can hold out, Gabby will be a menace. The issue is they need to keep buying that space. It's becoming all about Gabby. The best you can hope for from Armel and KP is to get some space out for the big Sven to become scary. But, you know, we're at the 20-minute mark. He's very far off from finishing up the BKB. He's been stuck on that for a while, which means our Shard is going to be a long way off, and the Hammer is going to be a long way off with the Ags upgrade as well. It's just going to be a bit too long as the high ground's already under siege.
Yeah, that tier 3 tower is not going to last long at all. They do back off, they give respect to TNC, and in all fairness, we are still 21 minutes into the game, so no real reason for Team Dog to try and rush this. Still plenty of time for In Your Dream to grow. He's going for a BKB of his own now, and things just continue to get tougher and tougher. Because they are really just waiting on Gabby. I mean, that's the only thing they can kind of hope for now, TNC. But with the map shrinking this quick, and so much gold he requires to be online, all you can do is try, but he might get run into now. He's farming. Ice gonna jump in with a swash. Stun is gonna be there. The rest of TNC are also around. Ice does pop the Rolling Thunder with the bullwhip, trying to go after Gabby, and he does land the stun. Now the Tombstone drop. They want to spend first, and they're gonna get him as well. Oh, Gabby, he just can't catch a break.
Oh, I love this. You've got the shards in Afu, so he's got that ridiculous splitter coming back up every time you cast it.
All right.
You are in such big risk when you get stunned by one. It's kind of ridiculous what it does.
All I see is balance, John. Tim's gonna get caught out on the Mirana. It's gonna go down to Arbed, who has a DD rune, and they are going straight after that mid racks. And after this, they can go after the top racks as well. as there's no tier 3 tower standing. So off they go. They know that TNC will refuse to buy back here as they're already too far behind to do so. I said there was no tier 3 tower, but what I meant was there was basically no tier 3 tower.
Yeah. That's just so silly. That split earth. You get 3 off. I believe it basically means there's literally 100% uptime on your split earth coming out. So if Afu really wanted to focus on one area, he just keeps them.
Bad. Found KP again. There's that split earth coming out, and poor old KP just going to try and run away. He's going to be okay for now, but he eventually gets taken down by Arfils. Now Armel in big trouble. Is going to die into Febby. They do pop the Guardian Angel, but is it going to matter? It will not. Arfu finding another triple kill for the Leshrac. Abed will take the fourth. They do pop the God Strength. This is the last ditch effort for TNC. They're buying back, but in your dream, he's going in with the Battle Trance. He's trying to fight this one out in the fountain. He will eventually die. But their 2 racks is up. Gabby trying to TP, but he can't. He will cancel it off. And it's I mean, there's still 2 racks is up. Even though you lose your carry, it just doesn't really seem to matter when you're 21k ahead.
It just takes me back. This is the In Your Dream I know from 2016, 2017. That's the classic play right there. It just takes me back. Memories, Mike. I remember a dive through tier 2s into the tier 3 and dying up there as well. Just that confidence, but you like seeing it. They're still ahead. It's 7-30. A lot of work TNC has to put in. They're gonna be happy about that pickup, but they might lose more.
Oh, Gabby, he's just stuck there now with the split earths coming out. He just can't move. Meanwhile, towards the north, Paulison, he's a tanky boy, but not tanky enough. He's gonna go down. Abed is looking for something. He does have the Aghanim Scepter upgrade now, so he can just jump in. In fact, he's got the full shards and Ags up. AP gonna pop the Viper Strike to try and slow him down a little bit. Mel gonna jump back in. Does have a Sonic Wave if he wants to commit. Star 4 comes in. Still no Sonic Wave being thrown out as now Tim's gets jumped on, but looks like Abed is just gonna jump himself out. Ice still going back in after KP. Now another Remnant to catch him out. They really want this Viper dead. Dissimulate is there. The Bullwhip coming out from Febby, but it's just not going to be enough. KP still just trying to slowly run his way out, but there's a flank coming in from In Your Dream, and he has the Battle Trance, so KP, he's being targeted so much. They just won't leave the Viper alone.
Well, I wouldn't either. It's a poisonous snake, Mike. You gotta take it out. They do. Keep themselves safe. TNC, it's looking dicey. They're still trying to get some farm out on Gabby. We saw him taken out a while ago, but does have a little bit of space to play with. He's still lagging severely behind, so 2k behind Abed. The big issue is he's about 6k behind In Your Dream. So he's at a major item deficit. We're not seeing the Ags being built up fast enough. The Aghanim Shard as well, it's going to be a long way off from that. And this is where it kind of hurts not having it as a talent. You just don't have that innate dispel on your end, but it's not like that alone would help out the cause completely for TNC, as they don't even have the Ags as well. And even then, the Ags was nerfed to not have that auto attack immediately when you do hammer in. So it will take like, what, a slight second more to get your damage out, but that does affect the DPS output of that upgrade as well for Gabby. We'll have to see if it does work well. If it does come out, TNC will smoke up here though.
They're gonna have to try something. At BKB, 9-second charge up on Gabby. Line drawn straight into Abed, I believe, on the Void Spirit.
Good scan.
Good scan
Catches
indeed,
the tail
Abed.
end.
Yeah, he's going to be just safe. Simulate to the low ground. That may have not worked out in his favor, but he's going to avoid them by Astral Stepping, and Mel still going to try, but Ice now does use the Rolling Thunder straight into the Queen of Pain. Here comes In Your Dream as well. On the Troll, they're trying to control him up, but it's looking really bad as Armel's dying on the left side, and on the right side it's not looking much prettier. Gabby, he's trying to fight this one out, but In Your Dream's there with the rush. He hasn't even popped the Battle Trance yet. There it is coming out. KP's down, Gabby's down, and the GG is called. there will be your first grand finalist coming out, and it will be Team Dog. TNC, they will go down to the lower bracket final, which will be played tomorrow, so they're not out of it quite yet. And John, we've got to go find out who their competitors are going to be.
Yeah, that was a spectacular performance out from Team Dog. Consistent early game, I think, is what I want to point out here. Throughout all games in the series, they've been constantly able to find some solid wins from their laning phase onward. It was really in game 2 where you saw TNC's tenacity pay off. Doesn't quite work out here. They go back to the Sven, and it just doesn't get off to the start they'd want. Gabby could not build into the items at the timings he wanted to hit. And even then, if he got the Ags, like the nerfs, still leave it up to the air as to how effective it would have been. So props to Team Dog, straight into the grand finals. Of course, as you mentioned, TNC lower bracket finals. We will see between Fnatic and T1 as to which one TNC will have to face tomorrow.
Oh, this is a real heartbreaker, this next one, John. You know, the ex-teammates, Jackie and Masaros, up against each other for a spot in the lower bracket final of the BTS Pro Series number 4. Who will emerge victorious? We're going to find out in about 10 minutes. Of course, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll see you all again after a short break. See how our lower bracket does pan out. We'll see you soon.